Chapter 44. What's going on? Li Shuiying, who was sleeping soundly, was awakened. Geezer Wang became serious and said, "Maybe there's a problem with the level 9 monster." "There's a problem with the level 9 monster?" Fang Yu sucked in a breath of cold air. A level 9 monster is comparable to a peak martial spirit. If there's a problem, it's definitely a big problem. It's probably the case. Under normal circumstances, the strongest here won't exceed the strength of a great martial master. To be able to cause such a commotion, it's definitely the level 9 monster here. Geezer Wang said solemnly. "Then what should we do?" Fang Yu asked. "It's none of your business, don't worry about it. Wait. I know you have a deep relationship with the underground black market, but think about it, if a level 9 monster comes, we'll explode on the spot, okay?" Geezer Wang guarded against Li Shuiying's angry beating and said, "Even so, are we really going to sit back and do nothing?" As Li Shuiying spoke, she looked at Fang Yu, asking for help. Fang Yu's mind quickly turned. If it was normal, Fang Yu would definitely not take the risk. What a joke. This is the existence of a peak martial spirit. What's the difference between provoking it and courting death? However, the task issued by the super slaughter system this time is to obtain the blood of a level 9 monster. Maybe it's an opportunity? Fang Yu couldn't help but think. "I think we should go and take a look," Fang Yu said seriously. "Hey, are you serious?" Geezer Wang asked in disbelief. What kind of character does Fang Yu have? He knows Geezer Wang very well. This kid is definitely not someone who is easily hot-blooded. Therefore, now that he took the initiative to ask to go and take a look, it's very strange. Of course it's true. I'm her family's consecrator. I'm bound together with the underground black market. I have no reason to watch the underground black market suffer and turn a blind eye. What's more, if we don't care about this level 9 monster, sooner or later it will cause a big trouble. Fang Yu said righteously, "For this reason, I must go and see what's going on, lest this cave be destroyed for no reason. No matter how dilapidated the cave is, it's still a martial saint. It's not easy to get the underground black market, it can't be destroyed so easily." Geezer Wang sneered. He didn't know what Fang Yu's purpose, but for this kind of kid who doesn't get up without benefits. "Geezer Wang, let's make a trip. 1 vat of sword chi wine and 5 pots of swallow return," Li Shuiying suddenly said. Geezer Wang's eyes flashed. A vat of sword chi wine and 5 pots of swallow return. This price. However, he thought that he could still fight for it, so he muttered, "Actually, it's not impossible to make a trip. It's just that the level 9 demonic beasts are too dangerous. You guys are also clear that those who can become companions with me, Old Wang, are not ordinary people. But in the face of a level 9 demonic beast, they still died. This shows that level 9 demonic beasts are very dangerous. These few jugs of wine are for you." Fang Yu didn't hesitate to throw all the remaining wine to Geezer Wang. "Hey, that's not right." Geezer Wang frowned. "When there's no wine to drink, these light-tasting wine can be drunk." But after being promised Yen Hui and sword on the level of wine, Fang Yu's jugs were not enough. "Geezer Wang, quit while you're ahead. Otherwise, if the movement is too big, you'll scare her and she won't go. Won't you suffer a big loss?" Fang Yu said with a chuckle. Geezer Wang thought for a moment and felt that this was the truth, so he reluctantly led the way. In fact, occasionally there are still some hotheads who provoke the level 9 monster. Although they don't know what's inside, but for such a powerful existence, there must be a lot of treasures in the nest. This is obvious. Geezer Wang seemed to be talking to himself and said, "This time it's probably the same. I hope they don't provoke this level 9 monster, or else it'll be troublesome." Fang Yu nodded silently. Geezer Wang's words had a certain degree of truth. Since this level 9 monster was in a critical period, it meant that it wouldn't riot for no reason, so as to avoid the previous efforts being wasted. Therefore, as long as it wasn't seeking death, the level 9 monster would try its best to endure and avoid a big fight. They tiptoed closer to the edge of the area, and instantly their faces changed. They saw dozens of figures surrounding a small figure, constantly attacking. Everyone, take action. As long as we catch this void mouse, we'll be rich. The entire underground black market will be ours. That's right, the void mouse's strongest point is its control of the void power. But it wants to transform, so it's in a critical period and its strength is restrained. I'm afraid it's not level 9. Now that we catch it, we'll rise. At that time, the title of the underground black market's king will change. Everyone's blood was boiling, and they were very excited. They're all subordinate forces of the underground black market. Li Shuiying's face was particularly ugly. Although she didn't know who they were, they should be the subordinate forces of the underground black market. Void mouse? It's the void mouse. Fang Yu's focus was special. Well, the void mouse has the talent of space. No wonder it can create a nest in this broken paradise. This is not good. Geezer Wang's face was gloomy. Even if the void mouse restrains its strength, it's at least at the level of a great martial master, right? And it's a monster. Are they looking for death? Haha, activate the array. At this time, the man in the lead laughed wildly. Heaven Sealing Earth Locking Array, activate. Heaven Sealing Earth Locking Array? Everyone was stunned. An array that can isolate the space? This is a rare treasure, where did they find it? Li Shuiying's head was buzzing. It's not necessarily a complete Heaven Sealing Earth Locking Array, it may be a one-time array, but it can indeed temporarily seal the void mouse's ability. Geezer Wang pondered for a while and said, Fang Yu and the others understood the operation of these martial artists in a few words, and they couldn't help but be shocked. They came prepared. Well? No, I want the blood of a level 9 monster. If I can let the void mouse bleed, I can take some of it, it's not impossible. Fang Yu was thoughtful. At this time, the void mouse's hair was already standing up, and the nearby space was in a distorted state, making the ecstatic martial artists swallow a mouthful of saliva uncontrollably. Terrifying. Such a level 9 monster was too terrifying. Don't be afraid. Go. Catch it. We must catch it alive. The leader said loudly, after it's done, my promise will be doubled. Wealth moved people's hearts. Not to mention, the original promise was already generous enough. Doubled? It meant that they could do nothing for the rest of their lives and just wait for death. If they didn't go now, when would they? Chapter 45. Let's go, kill it! It's already been sealed by the Heaven and Earth Lock spell. There's nothing to be afraid of. That's right, such a small thing is nothing to worry about. Seeing this, Geezer Wang's face turned ashen. Stupid, this is too stupid. How can you judge a person's strength based on their appearance when they've cultivated to this level? That's right, after cultivating to level 9, even a snail or an ant was unimaginably terrifying, not to mention the spatial ability of the void rat. They actually thought that after the void rat was sealed, it would be at their mercy. Stupid, too stupid. For this, the Zheng family has invested a lot, don't let it go to waste. The leading martial artist reminded them. Although the Li family was the absolute king of the underground black market, the Li family still had a few founding heroes. The Zheng family was one of them. Although they were the founding heroes, the Li family had taken all the good things from the underground black market, and they were unwilling to accept it. This feeling had been accumulating for many years, and it had finally reached the point where it could explode. The void rat was the best way to do that. It was an existence that was superior to martial spirit. As long as the void rat was subdued, the position of the king of the underground black market would change hands. The Zheng family? It's the Zheng family. Li Shuiying gritted her teeth. What's wrong with the Zheng family? Fang Yu asked. The Zheng family. They're wild wolves. First, they proposed to my sister, and after they were rejected, they set their sights on me. All for the sake of the Li family's power. Apart from that, the Jing family has been oppressing people and doing all kinds of bad things for so many years. Our underground black market has a bad reputation, and they have a lot to do with it. Damn it, now they want to use the Void Rat to deal with the Li family. This is intolerable. Li Shuiying was really angry. Although she was not an easy person to talk to, she was still a young girl and could not be too cruel. However, the Jing family had gone too far this time. Not only did they treat them like soft persimmons, they were also close to stepping on their heads and peeing on them. There's no hurry. The Void Rat isn't a pushover either. It won't be that easy to deal with it. Fang Yu shook his head and said, "That was right. Even if the Void Rat was not at its peak, it was still not something that could be taken down by ordinary warriors. It was the same even after being hit by the heaven-sealing earth-locking formation. Boom. Boom. Boom." Sure enough, the Void Rat was ferocious. Even though the Jing family's martial artists had the advantage in numbers, they still couldn't suppress it. Instead, they suffered heavy casualties. How could this be? The warriors of the Jing family were shocked. They had set up an inescapable net, so why couldn't they catch the Void Rat? It was impossible. What exactly went wrong? Young master, the Void Rat is an existence that can become a demon king. Its intelligence is definitely not low. We were too hasty. An old man said slowly. So strong. Sensing the old man's cultivation aura, Fang Yu could not help but turn solemn. The other party was definitely a half-step martial grandmaster. Even though Fang Yu was a 9-star martial master, and was not afraid of the so-called half-step martial grandmaster, these people who had lived for a long time more or less had their own trump card. He had to be on guard. Tu Lao, the young master of the Jing family, was very respectful to the old man. Tu Lao. Li Shuiying's beautiful face turned pale. The Tu Lao who was promoted to martial grand master and then, unfortunately, fell? It can't be. Who is this person? Fang Yu asked with a frown. This is a warrior who once stepped into the martial grand master realm. However, he offended a power that he shouldn't have offended and was hunted down until he fell to 9-star martial grand master. Geezer Wang said with lingering fear, "That's right. The other party also gave up on killing him because any mistake has a price. Tu Lao's realm dropped and he's old. It's hard to say if he still has the chance to become a martial grandmaster, so he spared his life." Could it be that he offended? Fang Yu thought of a possibility. That's right. It's the Tianji Tower. Geezer Wang nodded and said, Tu Lao cooperated with the Tianji Tower but broke the rules of the Tianji Tower. He thought that the Tianji Tower couldn't do anything to him, a martial grand master in a remote village. Little did he know that a martial spirit came. A slap was enough to make Tu Lao's realm fall and injure his tendons and bones. The Tianji Tower's foundation is really deep. Fang Yu couldn't help but sigh. No matter what, it's a power that connects the Wanling continent. However, with the old fox Tu Lao here today, they might really have a way to subdue the Void Rat. Geezer Wang looked into the distance and said, "Why?" Fang Yu was puzzled. Because Tu Lao is a beast tamer. You've heard of this profession, right? It specializes in taming demonic beasts for his own use. His combat strength is ordinary, but his spirit pet is powerful. Tu Lao's spirit pet hasn't come out yet. It might really have some ability to restrain the Void Rat. Geezer Wang said seriously. We can't let them subdue the Void Rat. Not even the slightest possibility. Li Shuiying said decisively. Although subduing the Void Rat was an extremely difficult thing to do, what if it happened? If they really managed to subdue the Void Rat, wouldn't the Li family be in danger? As the second miss of the Li family, she definitely couldn't let the family fall into such a predicament. Fang Yu, help me! Although it might not be a good thing to let the void rat escape, it's definitely a bad thing if they succeed, Li Shuiying said with bright eyes. Okay. Fang Yu licked his lips and said. He just happened to have some comprehension of the 9 blades of Heaven's Sun these few days. Now was the best time to put it into practice. Geezer Wang, what about you? Are you leaving? Fang Yu asked. Geezer Wang definitely wasn't as simple as he looked. If he joined, it would be a huge benefit for them. This. Geezer Wang was very hesitant. He had promised to protect Li Shuiying, but Li Shuiying had taken the initiative to look for trouble. This wasn't within the scope of the agreement. Geezer Wang, let me tell you seriously. Other than sword energy and swallow recovery wine, we have a lot of good things. Do you know about the golden wine? We also have the 3,000 ice springs. There's a lot more that you can't imagine. There's nothing we don't have. Li Shuiying listed 2 of the Li family's most treasured wines, and Geezer Wang agreed immediately. Golden wine? 3,000 ice springs. My dear mother, please let me protect you. Geezer Wang said seriously. Fang Yu smiled and turned his attention back to the void rat. The Jing family and the void rat. None of them were easy to deal with. This time, they were going to pull chestnuts out of the fire. Humans, you're forcing me to go on a killing spree. The void rat's eyes rolled a few times, and it actually started to speak human language. Chapter 46. It can speak human language. Everyone's expression changed. Did it really step into the Demon King level? If the void rat succeeded in breaking through, it might really turn this place upside down. Haha. Good. With it, we can definitely bring down the Li family. The young master of the Jing family had a fiery look in his eyes. That's right, the martial spirit ancestor of the Li family could be said to be a stabilizing existence. As long as this martial spirit ancestor was still around, the Li family was as stable as Mount Tai. No one could shake the Li family's position. However, as long as the void rat was obtained and subdued, everything would be very different. The Li family's position as the king was about to change hands. This is bad. Geezer Wang's expression was solemn as he muttered to himself. I don't care, it's bad. In short, we can't let the Jing family have their way. Our Li family isn't a pushover. We can't be bullied by them. Li Shuiying was burning with anger. The Jing family had really arranged the Li family's affairs clearly. Go to hell. The void rat said again in a muffled voice. The void rat was a kind of demonic beast that could grow to the Demon King level. Its bloodline wasn't weak, but in the Wanling continent, it couldn't be considered strong. Only when it was close to the Demon King level could it transform, such as speaking human language and so on. Although the void rat can grow to the Demon King level, it's different. Its aptitude is probably above the average void rat. It's a genius among the void rats. Tu Lao's eyes lit up. He was determined to get the void rat. Back then, there was a mistake in his deal with the Tianji sect. As a person who sold information, he was chased to heaven and earth by the Tianji sect. In the end, his martial grandmaster cultivation was crippled. Shame. Endless shame. To Tu Lao, this was undoubtedly nailed to the pillar of shame. However, if he could get the void rat and help the Jing family rise, then he would have some capital to fight against the Tianji sect. One had to know that not every place in the Heaven's Secret Tower also needed very strong martial artists to hold down the fort. Tu Lao didn't lose his mind. He wouldn't think of uprooting such a colossus. He only wanted to wash away his shame and seek revenge from the person who crippled his cultivation that year. The Jing family was Tu Lao's new starting point. I'll kill you first. The void rat could see that Elder Tu was the leader of this group, and he was also the strongest. As long as Tu Lao was taken care of, he believed that the martial artists from the Jing family wouldn't be able to achieve anything. Come out first, Tu Lao said slowly. That's right, the terrifying thing about the heaven-sealing Earth lock formation was that it could absolutely seal off space. Of course, this was only relative. But against a void rat that wasn't even a demon king, a void rat that didn't even dare to use its full strength, there was still a great chance, a great chance. Bang! 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 No matter how angry the void rat was, it could not break through the heaven-sealing earth-locking formation. It could only barely injure the martial artists from the Jing family who were close to it. It was harmless to the martial artists who came to catch it on purpose. This is the real deal. The young master of the Jing family licked his lips. I knew that old Master Zheng's item was the real deal. Zheng Yuan, have a good eye. Old Master Zheng's item is of course good stuff. It's the real deal. Young master, you don't have to worry about this. But you have to take note that the formation diagram is different from a real formation. Although it has some of the power of a formation, it's not complete. If it's incomplete, it won't be able to trap the void rat anymore. Tu Lao chuckled and reminded him. Jing Yuan reigned in his joy and said, Men of sacrifice, attack. Raising men of sacrifice was a secret that many forces didn't know. After all, this wasn't a nice way to put it. As a force, they still cared about their reputation. The men of sacrifice charged forward without hesitation, sending themselves to their deaths. Most of the void rat's strength was in combination with his space talent. Now that his space talent couldn't be used, he could only use 30% to 40% of his abilities. Although these warriors and martial master-level men of sacrifice were more than enough to exhaust the void rat. However, Li Shuiying still turned pale. This broken space can only accommodate a limited number of people at a time. Other than the previous contestants, there are still so many people from the Jing family who have infiltrated. Are they trying to play the Li family to death? That's right. Previously, they had killed the Shen 2 family members. From their reaction, they probably didn't know about the Jing family. Otherwise, with their character, they would have negotiated with them and begged for mercy. As long as they could live, they wouldn't hesitate. However, they didn't mention anything. It was a typical case of the ignorant being fearless. It could only mean that they really didn't know the ins and outs of this matter. It's time to attack. Fang Yu's eyes flashed as he said this. Although the void rat and the heaven-sealing earth-locking array had not reached their limits, if this continued, things would reach a point where it would be difficult to control. If they attacked now, not only would they be able to catch the Jing family off guard, they would also be able to do the void rat a favor. He just didn't know if the void rat would accept this favor. Rise of the Heavenly Sun. Fang Yu roared and waved his dragon-tooth blade. It was like a blazing sun rising high, killing a few Jing family warriors on the spot. Who's there? Stop him. Be careful. He's a 9-star martial master. Tu Lao saw through Fang Yu's true strength at a glance. Such a young 9-star martial master. Tu Lao felt a sharp pain in his heart when he thought about how he couldn't return to his peak after many years. He was even angrier at Fang Yu's appearance. Si Li Huala. However, Fang Yu's dragon-tooth blade was too strong. Every time he waved his blade, there would be a dragon's roar. Coupled with the rise of the Heavenly Sun, one of the 9 blades of the Heavenly Sun, it was impossible to stop Fang Yu unless the opponent's strength was similar. Tu Lao's expression changed. He was the only one with strength similar to Fang Yu. Who would have thought that a 9-star martial master, who could easily become a consecrator of a family, would suddenly appear here and make things difficult for them? Friend, if you stop, here are 30,000 spiritual stones. You can leave immediately. Zheng Yuan said hurriedly. 30,000 spiritual stones wasn't a small amount. However, to the Zheng family they had already bought a chicken. How could they lack the money for a cage? As long as Fang Yu left quickly, it would be fine. Fang Yu sneered. This time, He wanted to take advantage of the situation and kill the Jing family in a hurry. Then, he would take the opportunity to obtain the blood of a 9-star demonic beast. That way, he would complete his mission. Who cared about 30,000 spiritual stones? Before Fang Yu could reply, the Void Rat, who was trapped in the heaven-sealing earth lock spell, was so angry that he laughed. Good, good, good. I never thought that there would be a day when I would have to fight to the death with you humans. You should be proud. Then, the Void Rat's eyes turned red. A layer of illusory light appeared on his body. From afar, it looked like he was burning. Chapter 47. Oh no, the Void Rat is about to go berserk. Tu Lao was shocked. This meant that the Void Rat was going to deal with them at all costs. After all, based on the current situation, the possibility of the Void Rat breaking out of the encirclement was too small, so small that it was breathtaking. If it was Tu Lao, between being subdued by the humans and risking everything, he would undoubtedly choose the latter. Rumble! After the Void Rat ignited its energy, the heaven-sealing ground lock spell was on the verge of collapsing. Oh no, oh no! If this continues, the heaven-sealing ground lock spell will collapse. Jing Yuan's face was pale as well. He was the one who controlled the heaven-sealing ground lock spell. He knew the situation of the spell formation very well. The Void Rat was really going all out. The current situation of the formation was very bad, and it was on the verge of collapse. Xiao! 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 Fang Yu did not care what was going on with them. His saber was as fast as lightning. The lives of the Zheng family martial artists were harvested like chives. My experience points are increasing so slowly. Fang Yu realized that although he killed martial artists and martial masters with each attack, the experience points he gained were not much. They were all 100, 200, or even tens of points. What was going on? Could it be that as my level increases, I don't get much experience points from killing noobs? Fang Yu could not help but think. The more he thought about it, the more likely it was. Although the super slaughter system emphasized the word slaughter, killing noobs would not give him much in return. However, Fang Yu did not have time to think about it. The Void Rat going berserk was not a good sign. He had to end this quickly. In the outside world, the two peak martial masters who had been monitoring the situation in the winter were shocked when they realized that the energy in the grotto heaven was changing strangely. What is going on? The energy inside has surpassed the martial grandmaster level? Could it be that the rumor of a high-tier beast is true? Hurry up and report it. They did not dare to delay and quickly contacted Steward Chen. Steward Chen had been a martial grandmaster for many years. He should have some understanding of the situation. Not long later, Steward Chen arrived. Not good, there is a huge change inside. Steward Chen saw through the clues at a glance. He could tell with a single glance that this dilapidated heavenly passage was not only erupting with energy, but an extremely powerful creature had also appeared. Moreover, it was one that did not hide itself at all, causing the entire heavenly passage to be on the verge of collapse. Secondly, there were too many people in the grotto heaven. Who was it that let so many people in? Wasn't it survival mode? Were so many people going in for a picnic? Seal the grotto heaven. Steward Chen made a prompt decision. As for the other matters, I'll settle them with all of you after this incident is over. Everyone kept quiet out of fear, but they didn't dare to say anything. Steward Chen was truly vicious and merciless. He was a man of his word. If he said so, then so be it. It was useless for anyone to plead for mercy. Inside the grotto heaven, the Void Rats are coming out. We're all going to die here, Tu Lao said coldly. You make it sound like you'll be laughing and chatting with me if the Void Rat doesn't come out, Fang Yu said with a faint smile. Tu Lao's face darkened. This brat wanted to fight to the death with all of them. Normally, even if Fang Yu was a peak martial master, Tu Lao wouldn't be afraid. No matter what, Tu Lao wasn't the only one on their side. There were many warriors and men of sacrifice from the Jing family. With such a lineup, not to mention a mere peak martial master, even a true martial grand master would have to consider whether or not they would be injured after a battle. But what good will it do you if the void rat escapes? Tu Lao asked again. I can represent the Jing family to invite you to be a first-class consecrator of the Jing family. Little brother, you're still young and have a great chance of becoming a great martial master in the future, but you should know that it's extremely difficult to become a great martial master. It's 10 times harder to become a martial master than a martial warrior. Many peak martial masters stopped at this stage. Do you think it's possible without the resources and training of a big family? Is it really just relying on talent? Fang Yu didn't reply. However, Tu Lao was right. To become a great martial master, talent wasn't enough. Other things, such as resources, were equally important. For example, Fang Yu's rapid progress was due to the super slaughter system. However, the Li family's help was also not to be underestimated. If not, Fang Yu wouldn't have stepped forward bravely. Gotcha. While the two sides were facing each other, a slight movement attracted their attention. This is, Fang Yu and the rest were stunned as they looked at the void rat. They saw a visible crack in the heaven-sealing ground locking spell. The void rat was about to break free. The void rat is about to escape. Everyone's expression changed. It was no small matter that the void rat had broken free from its confinement. Most likely, most of the people here would die. Go! Geezer Wang suddenly shouted. The void rat has lost its mind. When it comes out, it will definitely start a massacre. It's better to leave first. Hearing this, Fang Yu was shocked and immediately retreated. He always thought that Geezer Wang was mysterious and not as simple as he looked. Now that Geezer Wang said that something big was going to happen, it was definitely going to be a big problem. No matter what, Geezer Wang was able to survive until now. The moment Fang Yu retreated, the heaven-sealing ground locking spell was officially broken. Rumble! The loud sound was undulating and everything nearby was swallowed up. Although Fang Yu ran quickly, he was still affected by the explosion and was sent flying dozens of feet away. Everything was silent for a long time. Fang Yu slowly woke up. Did the void rat go berserk and self-destruct? Yes, it self-destructed, it's all your fault. The sound of Tu Lao gnashing his teeth could be heard in Fang Yu's ears. Tu Lao, you didn't die. Fang Yu was shocked. He ran for a distance and was still affected by the explosion. His injuries were not light. Tu Lao was so close, but he was safe and sound? It can't be. Of course I didn't die, but the young master of the Jing family is dead. I, Tu Lao, will never be able to make a comeback. Tu Lao said angrily. That's right. The one who helped Tu Lao was the current head of the Jing family, Jing He. Jing He knew Tu Lao's potential and determination. He gave Tu Lao a lot of benefits and even asked Tu Lao to help Jing Yuan. Jing Yuan was the next head of the Jing family. He was talented but lacked experience. Once the process was completed, Zheng Yuan would undoubtedly be the next head of the Jing family. There would be no other voices in the Jing family. However, Zheng Yuan was dead. He was affected by the attack of the furious void rat and killed on the spot. How was he going to explain this to the head of the Jing family? Perhaps he, Tu Lao, would die without a burial ground. All of this was Fang Yu's fault. Fang Yu's expression was extremely ugly. He could not say that he was injured and could not move temporarily. Chapter 48. You can't move. Tu Lao also saw the clue. He smiled and said, "It's good that you can't move. It's good that you can't move. If you move, I won't be able to torture you and let you die slowly." Fang Yu's face changed. He didn't have the hobby of being tortured by an old man. However, he couldn't fight back. That was the most terrible thing. Heh, please have mercy. Suddenly, Geezer Wong popped out of nowhere and laughed mischievously. Where did you come from, little ant? Tu Lao looked at Geezer Wong and said. The current Geezer Wong looked like an ordinary old martial master. He could casually kill a large number of these small fries. There was no need for him to be so courteous with them. Hehemi, I'm a little ant. I'm here to beg for mercy. Can you let him go? Geezer Wong laughed and said, Yes, my backer said that he's willing to pay a large sum of money to buy my life. Fong Yu and Tu Lao were stunned. Fong Yu reacted immediately. Was the backer that Geezer Wong was talking about Li Shuiying? That was true. Among them, Li Shuiying was the only one who could be considered a sugar daddy. Li Shuiying was willing to pay for his life. Although it was surprising, it wasn't impossible. Tu Lao was stunned for a while and laughed. Pay for your life? Let's not talk about other people. This involves the life of the young master of the Jing family. What price do you think is appropriate? This devil formula. Geezer Wong pondered for a while and suddenly turned into a huge figure. Fong Yu, run! Geezer Wong roared and rushed towards Tu Lao. Fong Yu had also noticed it. The moment Geezer Wong made his move, he was able to move. The explosion just now was too intense, causing the spiritual energy in Fong Yu's body to not flow smoothly. However, after some adjustment, Fong Yu could move freely again. However, Tu Lao wouldn't be so kind as to give Fong Yu such an opportunity. Therefore, this was the opportunity that Geezer Wong fought for Fong Yu. Fong Yu escaped without hesitation. He was clear about Geezer Wong's character. If you don't have a diamond, don't take on a porcelain job. Since Geezer Wong said to let him go first, there must be a way to escape. Actually, Fong Yu was right. Geezer Wong did have his own plan. The devil cultivator technique was only used to attract attention. In fact, Geezer Wong's purpose was to take advantage of Fong Yu's escape and escape with him. Geezer Wong was obviously more concerned about Fong Yu than himself. This was the best opportunity for him to escape. However, what Geezer Wong did not expect was that just as he was about to leave, he felt a sharp pain spreading throughout his body. Lao Wong felt a pain in his head. He did not know when, but a small, almost transparent snake had appeared on his calf. How does it feel to freeze a venomous snake? Although it's not the strongest among my spiritual pets, it's the most unpredictable. It's hard to detect its existence. Once it bites, the spiritual power in the body will be frozen. Don't think that I didn't notice it. You were the one who reminded him to escape. Tu Lao said gloomily. If he wants to die, you want to kill him too. No one can escape. Geezer Wong's expression changed. He didn't expect this outcome. If you call him back now, he might spare your life, Tu Lao said with a smile. If Fong Yu, a peak martial master, really ran, even if he was Tu Lao, it would be difficult to catch up. However, Tu Lao could more or less see that Fong Yu was a person who valued friendship. If Geezer Wong called Fong Yu back, he believed that the possibility of Fong Yu stopping was very high. At that time, he would have a chance to kill Fong Yu. Humph! Geezer Wong snorted and said, If you kill me, even if you aren't killed by Fong Yu today, you will pay 100 or 1,000 times the price in the future. You have confidence in him. Tu Lao approached Geezer Wong and slapped him. Bang! A loud sound came from behind. Fong Yu was stunned. Geezer Wong? Fong Yu, he's already dead. Just run. I'll catch up with you and send you to reunite with this ant. Tu Lao said slowly. Fong Yu's mind was also in a mess. What should I do? Run or no? Even if I run, I won't be able to escape from his pursuit. He will be like a maggot attached to a bone and follow me closely. Unless I die or he dies. Fong Yu took a deep breath. The only way is to kill Tu Lao. That's right. If Tu Lao died, everything would be settled. Otherwise, if they kept chasing each other, they would be at a disadvantage. Moreover, Fang Yu didn't want to risk his life. Firstly, his body hadn't recovered yet. Rashly risking his life wasn't a good idea. Secondly, Geezer Wang was there. 2 against 1, there seemed to be a chance of winning. In fact, Tu Lao was once a great martial master. Who knew how many trump cards he had? Therefore, Fang Yu didn't want to take the risk. However, the opponent was ruthless. Even Geezer Wang was dead. If Fang Yu escaped now, he wouldn't be at ease in the future. Let's fight. It's either you die or I die. Fang Yu turned around resolutely. You really didn't leave. Should I say that you're an idiot? Tu Lao looked at Fang Yu with a smile. That's right. He was just trying to provoke him. He didn't expect to succeed. Young geniuses and ambitious people weren't simple characters. It was obvious which choice was the best choice. In the end, Fang Yu still came back. Tu Lao didn't know if he should laugh at this kind of guy. However, your return saved me a lot of effort. Tu Lao said meaningfully. After killing you, I'll have to leave this area. After offending the Jing family, I have no choice but to leave this place. You helped the Jing family. That's the same as offending the Li family. You can't escape. Fang Yu said calmly. That's right. Even if the Jing family let Tu Lao go, the Li family wouldn't just stand by and watch. He rashly brought a large group of people into the Grotto Heaven, causing the already dilapidated Grotto Heaven to become unstable. He even provoked the Void Rat. All these crimes were enough for the Li family to cut Tu Lao into pieces. Oh? It seems like you're from the Li family. Humph. The Li family, I asked them to help me once, but they rejected me. Otherwise, with the relationship between the Li family and the Tianji sect, my realm wouldn't have dropped. It's all the Li family's fault. Tu Lao vented his anger on the Li family. Incompetent and furious? Fang Yu found it funny. However, he didn't look down on Tu Lao. His character and ability were never equal. Moreover, Tu Lao was a rare beast tamer. Chapter 49. Beast tamers, as the name suggested, were martial artists who relied on their spirit pets to fight. Their bodies might not be that strong, but their various demonic beasts and spirit pets could definitely make up for their shortcomings. Other than that, many demonic beasts might not be well known, but they actually had various indescribable abilities. When they cooperated with each other, their combat power was not as simple as doubling. It was quite troublesome to deal with them. Therefore, if Fang Yu wanted to win, the only way was to end the battle as soon as possible. He has a trump card, so do I. Fang Yu thought to himself. Excluding the super slaughter system, Fang Yu still had the Heavenly Sun 9 blades and the 10,000 beasts Emperor Fist. Even if he lacked experience, his foundation was enough to make up for his shortcomings. I can counterattack. Fang Yu took a deep breath. Raging Fire Monkey, Thunderbird, Frozen Venomous Snake. Tu Lao released his spirit pets one by one. Actually, Tu Lao's spirit pets were not limited to just a few. However, many of them were killed during the battle with the experts of the Tianji sect. These few were the lucky survivors. However, it was fine. Tu Lao's plan was to obtain the Void Rat. Although the Void Rat burned itself and went berserk, its vitality is extremely strong. It might not be dead. It's good that it's not dead. After I subdue it, I will leave this place and come back to take revenge in the future. Tu Lao thought to himself. Although he had reached this stage, he had not given up on revenge. The hatred between him and the Tianji sect was irreconcilable and could not be easily forgotten. However, Tu Lao was not blinded by hatred. He had endured all these years. What difference would a few more years make? After he subdued the Void Rat, the Li family and the Tianji sect would have to kneel down and admit their wrongdoings. He swore. Fang Yu was on guard against these spirit pets. The Raging Fire Monkey was on fire. Its strength was around that of a martial master. The thunder bird could fly very high. Fang Yu was on guard and could not do anything to it for the time being. The frozen venomous snake was actually the one that Fang Yu was most vigilant against. Snake-type demonic beasts were sinister and vicious. They usually had strange abilities that were unknown to others. Who knew what kind of poison one would get after being bitten, and what the result would be? Although Tu Lao was a beast tamer and his body wasn't that strong, no matter how weak he was still a martial grandmaster. He must not be underestimated. Crackle! Fang Yu narrowed his eyes. In the blink of an eye, he had exchanged a few blows with the blazing monkey, frozen viper, and thunderbird. It had to be said that the strength of these demonic beasts might not be that strong, but when they joined forces, even Fang Yu would have to retreat. So strong. Fang Yu sighed at the strength of a beast tamer. He might not necessarily have these 3 spiritual pets. If he continues to delay. Fang Yu was thinking of a countermeasure when he suddenly realized that something was wrong. The ground beneath his feet had actually become extremely soft. Swamp fish swallow him! Tu Lao shouted. What? Fang Yu's expression suddenly changed. When did this demonic beast lurk under his feet? He was completely unaware of it. Pata! The ground beneath Fang Yu's feet immediately became soft and sticky like a swamp. Fang Yu's expression changed abruptly. What was the difference between being trapped here and becoming a target? As expected, the moment Fang Yu revealed a flaw, Tu Lao's few spirit pets had already rushed over at a high speed. He wanted to take Fang Yu's life while Fang Yu was sick. Of course, Fang Yu wouldn't allow himself to be captured without putting up a fight. He swung his broadsword. The blazing monkey and the frozen viper wouldn't attack Fang Yu unless they didn't want to live anymore. However, this can only delay for a while. Fang Yu's gaze locked onto Tu Lao. That's right. Regardless of whether he killed the blazing monkey or the thunderbird, the situation wouldn't change much for Fang Yu. If he wanted to end this battle once and for all, the key was still Tu Lao. If Tu Lao died, everything would be over. However, Tu Lao wasn't that easy to kill. Fang Yu was well aware of this. Not easy to kill, but I still have to kill. While thinking, Fang Yu took out an item. Spirit Light Veil. This was a one-time consumable Spirit Light Veil. It could defend against external attacks for a certain period of time. However, this kind of defense wasn't limitless. It could only withstand a certain degree of attack. Fortunately, Tu Lao's spiritual pets didn't have outstanding individual combat strength. They just had great teamwork that doubled their combat strength. The Spirit Light Veil was a complete defense. It was like a round ball that wrapped Fang Yu. As long as the spirit of this item wasn't exhausted, it was invulnerable. What? You even brought such a treasure? Who are you in the Li family? Tu Lao frowned. This kind of one-time use treasure was expensive. Normally, veterans and seniors like them wouldn't buy it casually. It was too expensive. Wouldn't it be nice to buy some elixirs? Now that Fang Yu took out this item, Tu Lao was caught unprepared. Good chance. Fang Yu squinted his eyes and stepped forward. The ball-shaped spirit light veil started to roll. This, Tu Lao was dumbfounded. It could be used like this? Hey, are you stupid? Fang Yu snorted and charged at Tu Lao. Seeing this, Tu Lao was shocked, but he wasn't afraid. His methods weren't limited to what they looked like. He still had a backup plan and a trump card. However, to Tu Lao's surprise, when he was about to get close to Fang Yu, a shadow was shot out by Fang Yu. Whoosh! The thing that Fang Yu shot out was extremely fast. It hit Tu Lao in the blink of an eye. What is this? Tu Lao was stunned for a moment and suddenly screamed. This was the viper lure. It was a combination of more than 100 types of snake venom. Even a martial artist who specialized in tempering his body wouldn't be unharmed. Not to mention a beast tamer like Tu Lao who didn't have a strong physique. What is this? Tu Lao screamed and his mind was shaken. Spirit pets were connected to his mind. His mind wasn't strong enough, and the other spirit pets were also at a loss. This thing can't be effective forever. As long as I can endure this period of time, I can definitely. Tu Lao's face was hideous because of the pain. His hands kept trembling. He wanted to summon his strongest spirit pet. This was a spirit pet at the peak of the martial master level. It was originally reserved for the void rat. Even if the void rat wasn't at its peak, the broken boat still had 3,000 nails. It couldn't be underestimated. Therefore, this trump card couldn't be exposed in advance. However, he couldn't care so much now. If he didn't use this trump card now, he would probably die. Fang Yu's face was also frightening because of his agitated emotions. He only had a chance now. If he didn't seize it, he would probably die here today. No. I can't die here. Fang Yu grabbed the dragon teeth blade and swung it heavily. Fourth of the 9 heavenly sun blades. Chapter 50. Setting Sun, Scorching Sun. Fang Yu swung his saber. The dragon teeth saber was like a scorching sun, engulfing Tu Lao. Ah! Tu Lao screamed miserably. However, the raging fire engulfed his voice. Beast tamer Tu Lao was dead. Phew! Killing Tu Lao was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. Fang Yu's aura immediately withered. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing Beast Tamer Tu Lao. You have gained 15,000 experience points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for advancing to Martial Grandmaster. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the Life Achievement Mission, advancing to Martial Grandmaster. You have gained 30,000 slaughter points. Slaughter points 30,000. Fang Yu was energized when he heard this. Of course, the main reason for his recovery was that he had advanced to Martial Grandmaster. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth surged into his body and repaired his broken body. What is this? Fang Yu took a closer look and realized that many of the things that Tu Lao had brought with him had been destroyed. Only 2 things were left behind. The first was a storage ring. The second was an item that looked like a building block. This item was ancient and looked like a building block. In fact, it was not clear what material it was made of. As for Tu Lao's few spirit pets, after their master had died, they had lost their connection and restraint. Thus, they scattered like birds. No one knew where they had gone. Forget it, I will leave with Li Shuiying first. It's a pity that Geezer Wang is dead. Fang Yu felt a little lonely. He did not have a good relationship with Geezer Wang. However, Geezer Wang died because he saved him. Even if Li Shuiying paid for it, Geezer Wang died because of him. Fang Yu knew Geezer Wang very well. He was an old man who would not wake up early if there were no benefit. However, in today's situation, no matter how much money he had, it was not worth the risk. At least, that was what Fang Yu thought. However, Geezer Wang took the risk and Fang Yu owed him a favor. Even if Geezer Wang was dead, he still owed him a favor. After they got out of here, they could use the Li family's connections to investigate Geezer Wang's background. Li Shuiying, wake up! Fang Yu found the unconscious Li Shuiying in a hidden haystack in the distance. At that time, Li Shuiying had hidden far enough away, but she couldn't avoid being affected. Fortunately, there were no injuries. Fang Yu, it's you. Are you okay? Li Shuiying said excitedly. I've escaped death. Thank you for asking Geezer Wang to save me. I'll remember this favor. As he spoke, Fang Yu sighed. It's a pity that Geezer Wang is dead. What? What are you talking about? Say that again. Li Shuiying said hurriedly. What did you say about asking Geezer Wang to save you? And Geezer Wang is dead? What's going on? Fang Yu frowned. Didn't you ask Geezer Wang to save me? No, when I was escaping with Geezer Wang, there was a sudden explosion and I fainted. God knows what happened after that. Li Shuang was still dumbfounded. She didn't know what had happened. Just as Fang Yu was about to say something, he suddenly felt a terrifying pressure coming from behind him. This is the void rat? It's fine. Fang Yu's body shook. The void rat had gone crazy and killed a lot of people. It couldn't kill itself. However, Fang Yu didn't expect the void rat to recover so quickly and come looking for him. Let's go. Fang Yu urged Li Shuang to leave quickly. What about you? Li Shuang was terrified. We don't have to leave. I still have some life-saving items. It's useless. This is an existence that's about to become a demon king. How do you think we can deal with a half-step to demon king? Fang Yu smiled bitterly. So, let's run. Fang Yu pushed Li Shuang and turned to face the void rat. Li Shuang looked at Fang Yu's back as tears flowed down her cheek. Everyone knew what would happen if they were to face a mad void rat. Let's go. If the void rat really escapes, it'll affect the entire Skylight City. I don't care about the Fang family or any forces, but there are many innocent people in Skylight City. Fang Yu said in a low voice, That's why I asked you to leave. Li Shuang's heart skipped a beat. That's right, if they died here, no one would know what had happened in the grotto heaven and why it had ended up like this. You must tell them to run. And the Zheng family. Li Shuang was burning with anger. She quickly left. Yes, she could not die here. She had to live. Feeling Li Shuang's aura leaving, Fang Yu heaved a sigh of relief. What he had said earlier was half true and half false. Although Fang Yu was not a saint, he could not bear to see people die. Moreover, his only hope now was the super slaughter system. His mission now was to obtain the blood of a grade 9 demonic beast. Fang Yu had wanted to search for it earlier, but unfortunately, the dust was everywhere and the blood of humans and demonic beasts were mixed together. He could not tell which was which, so he could only give up. Other than the super slaughter system, Fang Yu counted his various tricks and trump cards. No matter which one it was not enough to deal with the void rat. Luckily, I've become a martial grandmaster. Obtaining its blood is not hopeless. Fang Yu faced the void rat that was slowly appearing. What did you call your actions just now? A hero saving a damsel in distress, or courting death? The first thing the void rat said when it appeared stunned Fang Yu. You know these things too? Fang Yu chuckled. Whether I know or not, is it important? Isn't the important thing that you're going to die? The void rat said indifferently, although I don't like to eat martial artists to strengthen myself, you have really angered me this time. And you, coincidentally, have become a martial grandmaster. If I eat you, I should be able to recover some of my strength. Fang Yu's hair stood on end. Sure enough, he could hide the fact that he had broken through to martial grandmaster from Li Shuang, a newbie, but he could not hide it from the void rat who was about to become a demonic beast king. Actually, to me, whether I kill you or not is meaningless. It's just like how you humans don't care if you step on an ant. But you've become a martial grandmaster. To me, it's a great supplement. So I can't let you go. The void rat said leisurely. Forget it. You're a demonic beast, so it's enough to have the appearance of a beast. What's the point of pretending to be a human? It'll only make you look disgusting. Fang Yu sneered, not giving the void rat any face. I think you want to die now. The void rat's tone suddenly became cold. It had finally calmed down a little, but in an instant it became terrible again. If it were not for these humans provoking it again and again, it would not have fallen to this state. Therefore, these humans must die. Chapter 51. 10,000 Beasts Emperor Fist. Fang Yu did not make a move, but the moment he made a move, he used a big move. He knew that in the face of absolute strength, all schemes and tricks were limited. Since that was the case, he might as well try and see if he had a chance to defeat this void rat. The mighty aura gathered like 10,000 hands, causing the void rat, who was also a demonic beast, to be shocked. Spiritual martial arts? And it's a spiritual martial arts related to demonic beasts. Fortunately your cultivation is not high enough. Otherwise, I might really be suppressed by you today. Seeing Fang Yu's move clearly, the void rat was not shocked, but laughed instead. Even if it was not even a martial spirit now, it was still not something a mere martial grand master could deal with. It would let Fang Yu know that all of this was in vain. Rumble! The majestic aura crushed down like a tide. Although the void rat felt a great pressure, it still opened its mouth to bite. Void swallowing heaven. This was one of the void rat's special skills. Its body was connected to a mysterious space that could swallow all attacks and then retreat unscathed. It was precisely because of this that the void rat could be said to be powerful. A martial artist of the same level would not be a match for such a terrifying demonic beast. It really swallowed it. Fang Yu realized that the 10,000 Beasts Emperor Fist did not succeed this time. Instead, most of its power had been neutralized by the void rat. His eyelids could not help but twitch. Isn't this guy a little too scary? Although he had thought that the void rat's broken ship and the 3,000 nails would not be so easy to deal with, he had never thought that it would be so difficult. Burp. Do you have any other moves? If not, I'm going to eat you. The void rat burped and said teasingly. It's not good to fight and kill. Why don't we shake hands and have a drink? Fang Yu chuckled and said, when I swallow you, I'll definitely drink a pot of wine to celebrate. So, you'd better die obediently and not waste my time. The void rat was unmoved. Spiritual martial arts were rare items. They were extremely powerful, and could be considered the family heirloom of some factions. However, such a move did not even cause a splash when it landed on the void rat. The huge difference in strength should be enough to make Fang Yu despair. This won't do. Strike after the enemy. Although Fang Yu was shocked that the spiritual martial arts did not succeed, he quickly understood the reason behind it. Martial arts could be swallowed, but what about swords and sabers? He did not believe that the void rat could swallow the sabers and swords. Swish. The void rat squinted its eyes and dodged the dragon-teeth dagger. It did not know why, but it felt Chun Felt's was. It even had a feeling that, if it were to receive this attack, it would be injured. Therefore, he couldn't take this attack. Damn it! Fang Yu cursed inwardly. Not only was this void rat stronger than him, but it was also extremely cautious. How was he supposed to deal with it? There will be a time when you can't avoid it. Fang Yu executed the 9 heavenly sun sabers, one after another. What a powerful saber technique! Although I've seen limited saber techniques, I still feel that your saber technique is very impressive. The void rat could not help but praise. Fang Yu did not reply. He kept a straight face and dealt with the void rat. Swish! 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 Fang Yu slashed at the void rat again and again. The void rat yawned lazily. Tsk. Suddenly, the dragon-teeth saber let out a metallic sound. It was obvious that he had hit the void rat. Don't you want to hit me? I'll give you a chance. When mortals cook, they like to eat fish that moves a lot. Before I eat you, I'll let you move a little. The void rat said with a smile. This was a clear sign that he didn't place Fang Yu in his eyes. Fang Yu was not anxious or angry. He did not care how the void rat mocked him. It was fine as long as there was a chance. Besides, he could tell that the void rat was not really confident that it could take on the 9 heavenly sun sabers. When it had been hit, it had used some special means to dissipate a lot of the power. It's guarding against my trump card. Fang Yu glanced at the void rat, who looked relaxed but was actually very cautious. Speaking of which, the void rat was very smart, or rather, cunning. In any case, it had suffered a great loss in the hands of the Jing family. Facing him, who had survived and even broken through to become a martial grandmaster, there was nothing wrong with being cautious. In that case, Fang Yu's heart skipped a beat. The dragon-teeth saber suddenly unleashed its power. Third move of the 9 heavenly sun sabers. Weakness exploit. Weakness exploit was the third move of the 9 heavenly sun sabers. It was different from the heavenly sun sabers, which gradually grew stronger, and the ardent setting sun sabers. Weakness exploit was a very special move. It was not an exaggeration to say that its power was the weakest. However, this move was a little special. It aimed to break through a certain point, create an opening, and create a flaw. Fang Yu's saber was aimed directly at the void rat's eyes. You won't have a chance. The void rat closed its eyes and used its previous dissipation move. It secretly decided that after this move, it would finish off Fang Yu. This guy was too monstrous. If this continued, who knew what would happen? However, Fang Yu's saber suddenly changed direction. His target was actually the void rat's anus. No matter how tough your bones are, your anus is not indestructible. The moment Fang Yu thought about it, he slashed. Rip! The void rat's anus sank and a drop of blood splattered out. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the mission. You have obtained the fresh blood of a 9th grade monster. Ding! Mission reward. Bloodline contract. What is a bloodline contract? A bloodline contract is a deeper contract than a master-servant contract. The master and the pet are bound together. When the pet becomes stronger, the master will benefit more. When the pet becomes stronger, the master will benefit more. When the master becomes stronger, the master will also benefit. But after that, the two will live and die together. When one dies, the other will also disappear. So exaggerated? Fang Yu was speechless. And? Super slaughter system, when using this bloodline contract, does it require the other party's consent? Normally, when making a bloodline contract, it requires the consent of both parties. Neither party can have the slightest bit of resistance. Otherwise, the bloodline contract will fail, and the next time will be more difficult. But our super slaughter system's bloodline contract does not require this. It can directly bind both parties. After the super slaughter system's explanation, Fang Yu understood. He glanced at the murderous void rat and smiled evilly. Super slaughter system, use the bloodline contract. Target, void rat. Chapter 52. What happened? With its anus injured, the void rat, who was both shocked and angry, suddenly felt a terrible feeling. This feeling made it very uncomfortable. It seemed to have lost a lot of things at once. Like freedom? Although words like freedom seemed illusory, it was a very simple and direct description among monsters. It was to become someone's spiritual pet. After becoming a spiritual pet and being bound by the contract, of course, it couldn't be said to be free. The void rat was about to become a monster king. Even if it failed at the last step, with this experience, it would have a much greater chance the next time. It couldn't be said that this failure was in vain. In any case, not many demonic beasts had a smooth journey when they transformed into human form. Cultivation was against the natural order, and it was even more so when they turned into human form. The void rat was originally prepared to not succeed on the first try, but today's failure was absolutely unexpected. Now, there was such a strange feeling. Not good. The void rat thought to itself and wanted to leave. It couldn't tell what was wrong, but it couldn't stay here any longer. Otherwise, there would be a big problem. Leave. Fang Yu smiled coldly. He had given it enough face today, and it still wanted to run? Impossible. Ding. Bloodline contract used successfully. When the notification came in his mind, Fang Yu showed a big smile. He withdrew his saber and didn't run or attack. Didn't you want to kill me and eat me? I'll let you kill me and eat me. The void rat finally came to its senses and realized where the problem lay. It had inexplicably made a bloodline contract with Fang Yu. What the hell was this? What's going on? What happened? The void rat was in a mess. Oh? You're almost at the level of a peak martial master. I really underestimated you. You still have this kind of strength left? Through the bloodline contract, Fang Yu found that the void rat actually still had strength left. However, it was probably frightened by the Jing family's trap and became paranoid. Even Fang Yu was afraid of it. Now, he had gone overboard and had become Fang Yu's spirit pet. How did you do it? The void rat's face was filled with disbelief. How did you do it? I think fighting and killing is too much of a killjoy. Why don't we sit down and have a good chat? What do you think? Fang Yu said slowly. The void rat was filled with anger. It really wanted to slap Fang Yu to death. What do you mean by how is it? Of course it's nothing. Tell me first, how did you make a bloodline contract with me? The void rat took a deep breath and said, Why are your words so much clearer now? Oh, you and I have established a bloodline contract, so we can feel each other's thoughts. This is your thoughts. Fang Yu suddenly understood. Bastard! Answer me. The void rat cursed anxiously. Wasn't it just anxiously scolding people? Did this guy think that he was playing with him? I told you, I don't know. Anyway, I somehow became your servant. Fang Yu had an innocent look on his face. Then break the bloodline contract with me. The void rat said righteously. It was going to become a monster king. How could it allow a so-called master to shit and piss on its head? Don't even think about it. That's impossible. Fang Yu shook his head. Why is it impossible? The void rat asked. The reason is very simple. The so-called bloodline contract requires both parties to be willing to make or break it. Otherwise, it's futile. I'm scared to death of you now. I'm afraid that you'll kill me immediately after I break it. Do you think I can still break the bloodline contract fearlessly under such circumstances? Fang Yu found it funny and said, As long as I have the slightest reluctance in my heart, I can't break the bloodline contract. I remember that making and breaking it are the same. But I didn't make a bloodline contract with you willingly. How did you do it? The void rat was shocked. I told you, we made a bloodline contract inexplicably. Perhaps you took a fancy to me at first sight and thought that I should be your master. This is the only explanation that can explain why we inexplicably made a bloodline contract. Fang Yu said with a serious expression after thinking long and hard about it. Could it really be because of this reason? The void rat muttered to itself. Could it say that it was a little convinced? In fact, in the current situation, there was no better explanation other than this reason. If the void rat had not agreed to it, how could Fang Yu have taken it as a spirit pet? So, you and I are not enemies now. There's no need to fight. Besides, you also want to leave here, right? Fang Yu asked with a smile. His question struck a chord with the void rat. How could it not want to leave? It wanted to leave even in its dreams. The problem was that some things could not be left as long as one had a dream. You know what I'm thinking. All right, bloodline contract. No, why is it that you can know what I'm thinking but I can't seem to sense what you're thinking? The void rat suddenly reacted. The so-called bloodline contract should be equal to both parties. There was no reason that Fang Yu could know what it was thinking, but it could not sense what Fang Yu was thinking. Maybe you're not sincere enough? That's not the point. Fang Yu changed the topic. Do you want to leave here? The void rat was silent. So what if I want to? So what if I don't? After pondering for a long time, the void rat asked slowly. If you want, I can help you. Forget it if you don't want to. Fang Yu answered crisply. Help me? The void rat asked in disbelief. You mean, you want to help me leave this place? No matter what, you and I have made a bloodline contract. If I leave but you don't, won't this contract exist in name only? Fang Yu smiled and said, So, I'll help you leave this place. You didn't leave before, probably because there's something you can't solve, right? If not, with the anxiety that Fang Yu felt now, the void rat would not have stayed here for so many years and wasted its time. Actually, I didn't leave not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't. My parents are the spiritual pets of a martial saint, and this martial saint is very likely the creator of this grotto heaven. The void rat revealed a shocking secret unhurriedly. It really was created by a martial saint. As Fang Yu thought about it, he realized that an illusory figure was faintly discernible in his heart. Obviously, this was the manifestation of the void rat's spiritual consciousness. After staring for a while, Fang Yu muttered, So it's a female rat. Chapter 53. The figure that appeared was exquisite. If it wasn't a woman, what could it be? That was why Fang Yu blushed when he recalled how he had attacked the void rat's anus in order to injure it. The void rat more or less sensed Fang Yu's thoughts and flew into a rage. You can't blame me. I had no choice at that time. Who asked you to be invulnerable? I had no choice but to do this, Fang Yu hurriedly said. The void rat stared at Fang Yu for a long time with a strange look in its eyes. To be honest, if conditions permitted, it would definitely make Fang Yu pay with his blood and let him have a good taste of being raped. However, there was one thing about the bloodline contract. It was the same feeling. It meant that if it had attacked Fang Yu's anus, it would be the same as attacking itself. It would experience the pain from before again. Why bother? When you and I break the bloodline contract, I'll definitely teach you a lesson. The void rat gnashed its teeth and threatened. Cough cough. There's no hurry. There's really no hurry. Let's get back to the topic. Tell me about yourself. Fang Yu coughed a few times and said seriously. Humph. The void rat snorted coldly and continued to talk about his situation. All in all, I was still young at the time and couldn't remember anything. However, this martial saint hadn't returned for many years. Later on, I don't know what happened, but the people here urgently migrated and took everything they could with them. However, before they could completely move, it seemed that their enemies came. Someone who could be an enemy of a martial sage must also be a martial sage. Fang Yu exclaimed. He was probably also a martial saint. Anyway, he killed a lot of people and demonic beasts. I don't know if my parents were killed or taken away. Anyway, after the war ended, this place was also abandoned. Before it was discovered by some underground black market, the demonic beasts that were lucky enough to survive all lived freely here. After all, a lot of effort was poured into this grotto heaven. It wasn't too difficult to live here. As for me, after living for so many years and growing up, I was bored to death, so I tried to cultivate. Little did I know that I was actually a genius in cultivation. I started off with ease and easily cultivated to the level of martial grandmaster, which you humans call martial spirit. In order to become a demon king, I've been restraining myself, preparing to break through in one go. You guys just had to provoke me, wanting me to fight to the death. Speaking of these things, the void rat was full of resentment. In fact, after the great battle back then, much of the damaged paradise had already collapsed, and the range of activity was limited. Furthermore, the size of the heavenly abode was directly related to the martial sage's ability. All in all, the underground black market had been operating for many years, and it was only a matter of time before the void rats were discovered. Therefore, the void rat was prepared to become a demon king and break out before he was completely discovered. Fang Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. There was nothing wrong with the Void Rat's idea, but it had never considered the fact that a colossus like it was simply a ticking time bomb for the underground black market. They could turn a blind eye to the underground black market, but they still had to face it and solve this problem. Of course, when the time came, it might be time for blood to flow like a river. Now that everything is gone, you have to compensate me, the Void Rat suddenly said fiercely. It looked like a little girl who had been bullied. Okay. Now that you and I have established a bloodline contract, I have to protect you, right? Fang Yu comforted the Void Rat. You should know that the person who set you up is already dead. And the Void Rat dragged out the last word. Actually, it wanted to kill Tu Lao first, then eliminate Fang Yu and the rest. In the end, Tu Lao was already dead. He was killed by Fang Yu, which saved it a lot of effort. Similarly, it was Fang Yu who had killed an old fox like Tu Lao, so the Void Rat had to be wary of him, fearing that he had other tricks up his sleeve. But now, despite his precautions, he still fell for it. To think that he would become Fang Yu's spirit pet and even sign a bloodline contract with it. What the hell was going on? The plan now is to bring you out of here. You are the Void Rat, so you have the ability to hide in the void, right? Then when you go out with me, you should be able to deceive everyone. Fang Yu thought for a while and said, Okay, but I want to take my things with me. The Void Rat thought for a while and said, Your things? Okay. Fang Yu agreed without hesitation. The girl who escaped earlier. The Void Rat remembered Li Shuiying, and its face became ferocious. Fang Yu and Li Shuiying had a good relationship, but it did not mean that its relationship with Li Shuiying had to be good. I will deal with her, Fang Yu answered without hesitation. Li Shuiying still trusted him, so it should not be a problem to deal with Li Shuiying. Moreover, Fang Yu had become a martial grandmaster, which could be said to have increased a lot of bargaining chips. Martial grandmasters, even in the underground black market, there probably weren't many of them. The Tao family and the Jing family. Fang Zhao's fiancé married into the Jing family, right? Good, I can settle old and new grudges together. Fang Yu's eyes were burning with rage. The Void Rat did not know what Fang Yu was thinking. It looked deeply at Fang Yu and did not say anything. Could it say that an angry Fang Yu looked very scary? Even it could not help but feel a sense of fear. The Void Rat's nest was built in the void. Because of this, many people wanted to explore it but were unable to do so. Even a martial grandmaster would have a high chance of dying if they walked around in a place where space had collapsed. After Fang Yu became a martial grandmaster, he had a deeper understanding of the situation. He dared to say that if the Void Rat had not brought him along, Fang Yu would not have taken the risk, regardless of how many treasures there were. This was not the level of taking the risk, it was almost certain death if he went in. Is this your lair? Fang Yu landed steadily. He looked at the orderly little cave and clicked his tongue in wonder. What entered his eyes was a place that was similar to a living room. Deeper in, there was a study. There were many books and spirit weapons placed there, and the innermost part was separated by a pink curtain. It was a bit like a woman's boudoir. So what if it is? Are you looking down on demonic beasts? The Void Rat was a little unhappy as it asked. Then take everything away? My storage ring may not be able to hold it, Fang Yu said casually. Why should I let you take it away? The Void Rat was angry and amused at the same time. Although they had made a bloodline contract, the so-called bloodline contract was equal, okay? Equal. Wait. Although you can hide in the void, there are many restrictions. For example, you can hide in the void for a long time. Is it really okay to take these things with you? Fang Yu retorted. Even if you have a storage ring, there aren't any high-grade storage rings here. If something goes wrong, wouldn't your things be in vain? In my opinion, it's best for me to take care of them. Chapter 54. The void rat could not find any fault with Feng Yu's answer. It was speechless and could only acquiesce to Feng Yu's words. I don't have enough storage rings. How many can you give me? Feng Yu browsed through and said. The void rat was extremely angry, but it still gave Feng Yu a few storage rings. These warriors who occasionally came to provoke it were all killed, and their storage rings were left behind as spoils of war. Of course, the things inside had long been emptied. When the void rat had nothing to do, it organized them and arranged them near the bookshelf. Feng Yu unceremoniously took the wealth that the void rat had accumulated over the years. Ancient books, pills, spiritual weapons. It had to be said that the void rat might not be a rich beast. After all, it was trapped in such a small grotto heaven with limited resources. However, it was the limited resources that opened Feng Yu's eyes. He sighed that someone who was about to become a demon king was indeed different. It was much richer than him. You should take it properly. The void rat was very distressed that Feng Yu stuffed all of it into the storage ring like this. Although storage rings were not rare, there were still some tricks to using them. For example, if you put it properly, it would be placed properly. Feng Yu stuffed all of it into the ring like pouring beans. It was definitely messy inside. There's not enough time, Feng Yu thought for a moment and said, with such a big problem here, it's impossible to sit back and do nothing. Perhaps their martial spirit experts will come. You were very powerful before, but now you're not even a martial spirit. You're just a peak martial master. Can you defeat a group of people? Unwillingly, the void rat shut its mouth. That's right. When the void rat was at the peak of martial spirit, it was naturally fearless with its spatial talent. However, now that it was not even a martial spirit, it had to tuck its tail between its legs and behave. Unless it wanted to be taken care of. Don't worry, I'll protect you. After all, you and I are connected by blood. If you die, won't I die? Feng Yu said happily. Sigh, if only I could get a form transformation pill. It would be much easier for me to break through to the Demon King level. The void rat sighed. Form transformation pill? Feng Yu looked over. It's a type of pill that assists demonic beasts in breaking through to the Demon King realm. In fact, there are two main factors in breaking through to the Demon King realm. The first is the lightning tribulation, and the second is the transformation. If you can't successfully transform after passing the lightning tribulation, then you are still not a Yao King. You can only be a level 9 Yao beast that has passed the lightning tribulation. Calling you a half-step Yao King is not wrong. However, the next time you try to break through to the Yao King level, the lightning tribulation will be much stronger. So, even if you fail, it depends on how you fail. In comparison, someone like me who failed on the spot before I had the chance to make a breakthrough might, in a sense, be better. The void rat seemed to be implying something. Although the form transformation pill was rare, number 1 was about to become a demon king. If he wanted to get it, it was still possible for him to go bankrupt. However, the void rat had been trapped in the broken grotto heaven. There was no hope at all. Since Feng Yu's identity was useful, it naturally wanted Feng Yu to do more work. I can help to investigate, but now is not the right time. If I investigate now, won't I be telling the whole world that you are with me? Feng Yu pondered for a while and said, yes, there was no lack of smart people in the world. Moreover, there were not many fools who could survive in the underground black market. If he thought of them too simply, he would be the one who would suffer. What is this? The void rat found something on Feng Yu's sleeve and couldn't help but ask. Feng Yu raised his head and took a look. Instantly, his expression changed. Grandpa Chen, you must save him. In order to save me, Li Shuiying cried as she spoke. Her tears fell like beads from a broken necklace. Little sister, don't cry, Li Qiuhong comforted Li Shuiying. Her heart was also in turmoil. This matter involved too many things. Who would have thought that Li Shuiying would sneak in and cause trouble? She even met Fang Yu and massacred the Shen Tu family clan. The Shen Tu family clan could be ignored. Just as Li Shuiying had thought, the Shen Tu family clan was not the only faction from the barbarians. Furthermore, due to the underground black market, the Shen Tu family clan had quickly risen in power among the barbarians, attracting the envy of many. Now that it was gone, it was at most replaced by another barbarian faction. It was nothing much. The problem was the Jing family. Jing Yuan, Tu Lao and company had dared to secretly bring people into the Grotto Heaven to capture the Void Rat. More importantly, there really was a Void Rat. Thankfully, it was not captured by them. However, this can't be considered good news. It's not that we don't know of the existence of a Fey beast that is close to a Fey king. However, we have never confirmed it in detail. Firstly, we did not want to disturb it. Secondly, we were helpless even if we discovered it. After all, even if Patriarch Marshal Numinous were to take action, it would be hard to say if he could subdue this level 9 Fey beast. Li Qiuhong's expression was extremely ugly. She was still in the process of establishing her own team, yet such a huge mess had occurred. Did she really need the Patriarch to come out and preside over everything? We've already sent people in and sealed off everything. Steward Chen also tried to persuade her, but the worry between his brows did not lessen. Clearly, after this incident, their survival model was more or less finished. The loss of property was a small matter. The Li family had been developing for many years and did not lack money. However, the unstable underground black market was full of unseen demons and monsters. This time, with the Zheng family taking the lead, they would appear one after another. What's the situation? Suddenly, a horse-faced man approached them. Zheng He Li Shuiying glanced at the middle-aged man, infuriated. This was Jing Yuan's father, the head of the Jing family. The Zheng family was one of the heroes who had followed the Li family to conquer the country. However, they had always had ulterior motives and had always been guarded against by the Li family. In addition, the Li family had the Patriarch of martial spirit, so even if the Zheng family had any ulterior motives, they would not be able to cause much trouble. However, Li Shuiying and Li Qiuhong's parents had died in an accident, leaving the Li family's position empty. The Patriarch of martial spirit rarely came out of seclusion to intimidate all sorts of people, giving Li Qiuhong some leeway. Because of this, Li Qiuhong was not only eager to improve her own strength, but also to recruit talents. Fang Yu was indeed a talent. If they nurtured him well, he would definitely be of use to them. However, Fang Yu's fate was currently unknown. How could they treat him kindly? Apart from that, there was also the instigator, Zheng He. If not for Zheng He's approval, no one would have dared to open the doors to the Li family's martial artists under the Zheng family's strict orders. Now that something had happened, they were still putting on an act. Bah! Shameless! Chapter 55. Clan Head Jing He. The current situation isn't completely confirmed yet. Steward Chen walked up to Zheng He with a smile on his face. Even if they knew that the Zheng family was behind this, they still couldn't fall out with the Zheng family without solid evidence. Otherwise, it wouldn't be good for anyone. Little sister, bear with it. If they really did do it, the Li family isn't to be trifled with either. Li Qiuhong said softly. This was the helplessness of being a successor. Everything had to be done for the greater good. The Zheng family had been operating in the underground black market for many years and had their own people. If they really went to war, the underground black market would suffer a great loss for no reason. The gains wouldn't make up for the losses. Li Shuiying also understood her sister, but she really hated it. If it weren't for the Zheng family, there wouldn't have been so much trouble. Someone's coming out. Li Qiuhong saw a figure in the distance and said. In fact, They had already told the people inside to come out as soon as possible when something happened to the broken grotto heaven. They controlled the only entrance and exit and brought the survivors out one by one. Li Shuiying was one of them. However, after waiting for a long time, they didn't see Fang Yu, who had lured the void rat away. The result was obvious. However, as the figure came closer, Li Qiuhong's eyes widened. Fang Yu? Who else could it be but Fang Yu? There are quite a lot of people. Fang Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he sensed that he was being watched. Don't make any noise, Fang Yu thought to himself. Now, the void rat was lying on his shoulder, but it was hidden in the space, so no one could find it. When one's cultivation reached the level of a demon king, it was basic to be able to change its size. The void rat looked at everything lazily, feeling a little excited. It could finally leave this damned grotto heaven. Although Fang Yu seemed to be able to bring it out without any hindrance, in fact, if it were on its own, it definitely wouldn't be able to get out. There were many formations outside the cave. If it weren't for Fang Yu, they wouldn't have opened the door. Fang Yu, it's really you. Seeing that it was Fang Yu, Li Shuiying was overjoyed. Fang Yu asked her to leave first. Of course, it was out of consideration for the big picture, but it also touched Li Shuiying. No matter what, she was still a teenage girl. For a man to be willing to risk his life to let her go first, it was impossible for her not to be touched. It's me. Fang Yu smiled. I'm so glad you're okay. Li Qiuhong also heaved a sigh of relief. It was hard to recruit a consecrator. If he were to die here, it would be a huge loss. How's the void rat? It wasn't Steward Chen who asked the question, but Zheng He. Fang Yu glanced at the middle-aged man and recognized him from his facial features. He was probably Jing Yuan's father, the head of the Jing family. Could he be the husband of Fang Zhao's fiancée? With that thought, an inexplicable light flashed in Fang Yu's eyes. The void rat escaped. Fang Yu said a shocking fact. Escaped? Where did it go? Zheng He seemed a little anxious. Head of the Zheng He family, don't be anxious. Take your time. Steward Chen looked at Zheng He meaningfully and asked Fang Yu, what exactly happened inside? After I lured the void rat away, I wanted to try and kill it, but something unexpected happened. Geezer Wang, who was killed in order to save me, suddenly appeared in the form of a golden-armored deity, and scared the void rat away. Then, the golden-armored deity chased after the void rat. Even if the void rat hid in the void, it was still pursued. Fang Yu told the story that he had made up beforehand. Everyone listened with trepidation. What evidence do you have to prove that what you said is true? Zheng He asked. Everyone couldn't help but look at the head of the Jing family a few more times. Zheng He had always given them the impression that he was calm and collected. Why did he seem so impatient today? Could it be this is the evidence? Fang Yu took out an item. An invitation from the 4 great academies? When he saw what it was, Steward Chen's expression changed. The invitations from the 4 great academies were usually only given to martial masters who had the potential to become martial grandmasters before the age of 20. Every person who gave out the invitations was very powerful and unfathomable. Of course, there were also cases where the experts from the Tianji sect were entrusted to give out the invitations. However, a small number of experts from the academies would still personally give out the invitations to the young boys and girls they thought highly of. Now that Fang Yu had taken out the invitations from the academies and told the story earlier, Geezer Wang was undoubtedly an expert from the 4 great academies. If it was an expert from the 4 great academies, it's not impossible to scare the void rat away, Steward Chen muttered to himself. Martial grandmasters, martial spirits, and the like might be very rare in a small place like Skylight City, but not in the 4 great academies. In the 4 great academies, the starting point was martial grandmasters. Young geniuses were everywhere. Martial spirits and even martial kings were the same. Those who could bear the title of an expert from the academies were at least martial kings. According to what you said, he didn't seem to have come in person. If it wasn't in person, this is a level higher than a martial king. After a pause, Steward Chen continued. An existence that was a level higher than a martial king, even if it wasn't in person, it wouldn't be difficult to scare away the injured void rat. I think we should go in and investigate properly. Zheng He asked a little anxiously. We will make arrangements for this matter. Patriarch Zheng He, you don't have to worry about it. Li Qiuhong took a step forward and said, Young mistress, our Zheng family is also one of the powers in the underground black market. We have always been at the Li family's beck and call. Why is young mistress treating us so coldly on this matter? Zheng He asked calmly. Li Qiuhong smiled but didn't say anything. What was the reason? Could it be that Zheng He didn't know? Or was he deliberately playing dumb? He wanted to bluff his way through. However, no matter what the reason was, Li Qiuhong wouldn't let him have his way. The corpses of the Zheng family's martial artists, men of sacrifice, and even Zheng Yuan's body should still be in the grotto heaven. As long as they were found, the Zheng family wouldn't be able to explain themselves. Young mistress, please give me an explanation. As he spoke, Zheng He took a step forward. The pressure of a martial grandmaster gushed out, causing Li Qiuhong's beautiful face to turn pale. She kept retreating. However, before Steward Chen could do anything, a hand had already gently supported Li Qiuhong, stopping her from retreating. Young mistress, are you all right? Fang Yu asked. I'm fine. Li Qiuhong shook her head. As expected of a young genius who received the Academy's invitation letter. Under my pressure, he didn't even waver in the slightest. Zheng He's eyes flickered. Chapter 56. Zheng He. Steward Chen yelled angrily. If it was any other time, Steward Chen would still be able to speak nicely to Zheng He. But he actually dared to threaten Li Qiuhong. That was tantamount to touching their Li family's forbidden territory. He could not be forgiven. Haha, Steward Chen, don't be nervous. I was just joking. I'll send you a gift later. Goodbye. Zheng He left after saying that. It seems like the Zheng family is in deep trouble this time. Zheng He, who is known for his calm composure, has such a side to him. Li Qiuhong muttered to herself. That's right. The Zheng family had been in the underground black market for a long time. Zheng He was also the most outstanding of the Zheng family's generations of patriarchs. He had become a martial grandmaster a long time ago. Some people even said that Zheng He was the only one in the Zheng family who was qualified to become a martial spirit. Therefore, Zheng He was not interested in power now. He wanted to delegate power to Zheng Yuan and focus on his closed-door training. If Zheng He becomes a martial spirit and they subdued the void rat, they did not dare to imagine the consequences. You guys go back first. I'll take care of the things inside. Steward Chen said to Fang Yu and the others. The Zheng family had suffered such a huge loss. If they were still willing to deliver their weakness to their doorstep, it was absolutely impossible. There would definitely be a fierce battle later. It would not be appropriate for Li Qiuhong to stay. Okay. Li Qiuhong nodded. I'll have to trouble you to escort the two ladies back. Steward Chen could not help but glance at Fang Yu. The reason was simple. Fang Yu did not move under Zheng He's pressure. This was not a small matter. Zheng He had been a martial grandmaster for a long time. He was not an ordinary martial grandmaster. Unless, thinking of this, Butler Chen shook his head again. Impossible. How old was Fang Yu? He was only in his teens. Just a month ago, he was still at the first layer of body refinement. To say that he was now a martial grandmaster, unless he was the reincarnation of an immortal emperor or the rebirth of a martial emperor. Fang Yu, I'm so happy that you're okay. Li Shuiying plucked up her courage and said to Fang Yu. It's nothing, Fang Yu shook his head and waved his hand. Although it wasn't a big deal, The Li family and Fang Yu had too many interests involved. Based on this point, Fang Yu couldn't let anything happen to Li Shuiying. Thank you for saving my little sister. I'll remember this favor. Also, I believe you in all the things you did in the paradise. However, as for the specifics, it will depend on the results of Grandpa Chen's investigation. Li Qiuhong said seriously. That's right, she was only the heir now, not the person at the helm. There were many things that were still not decided by her alone. Moreover, this matter was of great importance. Li Qiuhong didn't dare to be negligent. It's better to be cautious. At least we have to confirm whether the void rat has really left. Fang Yu said seriously, why don't we ask the people from Tianji sect to help us investigate and see if the void rat is still in this area? Good idea. Li Qiuhong was suddenly enlightened. Asking the people from Tianji sect to help would require a large sum of money. However, ensuring safety was the most important thing. Only with a stable environment would the underground black market be able to earn money in peace. As for the Jing family, when this matter is settled, it will naturally be time to deal with them. Li Qiuhong's eyes flashed coldly. If they thought that she was young and ignorant and easy to fool, Li Qiuhong would personally teach them how to behave. Just as Fang Yu was about to reply, he felt as if something was hinting at him. Ding! Slaughter Mall, product refreshed. What refreshed? Explosive energy pill, price 3.0 slaughter points. Effect. Contains the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for a martial master to rise 5 levels. If not absorbed, it will directly disperse between heaven and earth. That's a good thing. Fang Yu's eyes lit up. He had no use for the explosive energy pill, but he could give it to Li Qiuhong. He still had a mission to help Li Qiuhong break through to martial master. In fact, compared to the explosive energy pill and body refining pill, when leveled up, it is purer and can feel the spiritual energy fusing with one's body. In the long run, it is very beneficial. Body refining pill and other types of pills are directly leveled up, but it lacks a lot of enlightenment. Fang Yu was deep in thought. However, these situations had nothing to do with Fang Yu. He leveled up too quickly. It was so fast that before he could solve these small problems, he had already reached another level. Once he reached a higher level, he would be able to understand everything. The problems of martial warriors, martial artists, and even martial masters would naturally be swept away. As long as Fang Yu, leveled up quickly, there would be no sadness, only love. Yes, miss, this time I accidentally obtained an item. Fang Yu passed the explosive energy pill to Li Qiuhong. This is explosive energy pill? Li Qiuhong's eyes widened. This is a medicinal pill that only exists in legends. It is very difficult to refine now because the materials are too scarce and the difficulty is too high. It requires the help of a martial king. It is a treasure that is hard to come by. Li Shuiying's eyes were also shining. Miss, you have the opportunity to get an invitation from the 4 big schools. I think you should take advantage of this opportunity. Once you enter the 4 big schools, I believe a lot of people will restrain themselves. Fang Yu said seriously. That's right, the 4 big schools not only represented outstanding talent, but also many geniuses of the same generation. Skylight City was still a small place. If Li Qiuhong could get to know more geniuses, she would undoubtedly have more power. When that time came, if others wanted to get their hands on the underground black market, they would have to depend on whether her friends would agree or not. Thank you. I thought I wouldn't have the chance. I didn't expect that, thank you so much. Li Qiuhong was sincerely grateful. Fang Yu, what about me, what about me? Li Shuiying grabbed Fang Yu's sleeve. Is there a miracle pill that can help me break through to Martial Grandmaster? I will spend money to buy it. Where will you get the money? Li Qiuhong said angrily, don't be ridiculous. It's not that I don't have money, I just don't have enough money. How about this, I will pawn myself to you. Can you help me find a pill like this? I also want to go to the 4 big schools. Li Shuiying was relentless, and Fang Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If there is a second pill like this, it is worth it to buy the second miss of the Li family. Fang Yu smiled helplessly. What about me? Are you giving this to me to buy me, the first miss of the Li family? Li Qiuhong looked at the explosive energy pill and asked with a faint smile. Cough cough, Fang Yu couldn't answer this question. Or should I say, I don't even have this bit of charm? Li Qiuhong changed the topic, and Fang Yu didn't know how to continue the conversation. Sister, don't tease him. He is shy. Li Shuiying smiled slyly and said, but as I said before, you, Fang Yu, are so good to us sisters. You saved me from danger and gave the best pill to my sister. Don't tell me you are not interested in us sisters and want to hug them? Chapter 57. Fang Yu opened his mouth, but no words came out. According to the logic of these 2 sisters, he couldn't nod or shake his head. All right, let's stop joking. You might have to make a trip back to the Fang family. Li Qiuhong returned to the main topic. Oh? What's wrong with the Fang family? Fang Yu asked curiously. It seems like the people from the Tang sect are here. Li Qiuhong said seriously. You saved the young miss of the Tang family, so it's not a small matter. Tang Wu's father is a great man, and her mother is also a great figure. If not for her strange illness, Tang Wu would have high hopes for her. Yes. Fang Yu nodded. He didn't deny Tang Wu's talent. If Tang Wu was healthy, she would have received an invitation to the academy by now. Then I'll make a trip back. The people from the Tang sect are here. If I'm not here, they might take all the benefits. Fang Yu smiled coldly. He didn't have a good impression of the Fang family. They had mocked and ridiculed the original owner of the body since young, and even treated his mother badly. Fang Yu didn't have any reason to protect them. Especially when the original owner of the body died in the mass grave, their friendship had already been severed. Please sit, please sit. The Fang family escorted a few figures into the main hall. The leader of the group was a tall girl. Her aura was very close to that of a martial grandmaster, but her foundation was so solid that even Fang Zhao couldn't help but look at her. So strong. Is this the prodigy of the Tang sect? She's not even 20 yet. Fang Zhao thought to himself. There was a huge difference between becoming a martial grandmaster and becoming a martial grandmaster before the age of 20. The girl in front of him was clearly one of those who would become a martial grandmaster before 20. In addition, the Tang sect's deep foundation was not something an ordinary martial grandmaster could compare to. Where's Fang Yu? The girl sat down and looked for Fang Yu. Fang Yu, this. Everyone looked at each other. In fact, on the night of the 3rd elder's death, Fang Zhao had given the order to remove all surveillance on Fang Yu, allowing him to move freely as long as Fang Yu reported to him. After all, the people from the Tang sect were here, and they had to find Fang Yu. Fang Yu went out of the city to train. Fang Zhao stepped forward and said. This was Fang Yu's message before he left. Fang Zhao wasn't afraid that Fang Yu wouldn't come back. No matter what, the Tang sect hadn't thanked them yet. If Fang Yu left early, wouldn't they be benefiting from it? Fang Yu did not seem like such a generous person. Therefore, Fang Zhao allowed Fang Yu to go wherever he wanted. In any case, no matter how talented Fang Yu was, he would only be a martial artist at most, or a martial master at most. A level higher than that. Impossible. Didn't Fang Zhao know how capable his own son was? What? The leader of the girls frowned. She thought that Fang Yu was here. Then they would be able to finish things early and do whatever they needed to do. Now that Fang Yu wasn't here, what should they do? Then when will he come back? The girl asked in boredom. This is hard to say. Fang Zhao hesitated for a moment, then decided to tell the truth. Because they really didn't know where Fang Yu went. Even if they tricked the other party, it would be useless. They might even be unhappy, so it was better to tell the truth. Hard to say? Do you think we Tang sect martial artists have a lot of time? The leader of the girls mocked. She wasn't as easy to talk to as Tang Wu. She had been the pride of the Tang sect since she was young, and the Tang sect doted on her. She was also very concerned about her cousin Tang Wu. Now that someone had cured Tang Wu's chronic illness, she wanted to see who exactly it was. She didn't expect to not even see him. Of course not. Fang Zhao frowned, but he didn't know what to say. They were the ones begging the Tang sect now, not the other way around. Moreover, the Tang sect didn't owe them a favor, but Fang Yu. Without Fang Yu, there was nothing to talk about. They wanted to monopolize Fang Yu's benefits, but they were told not to do so until they saw Fang Yu in person. Young Master Fang Yu is back. A servant outside the door said excitedly. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Although the Tang sect wouldn't deny them the benefits, it would be very troublesome if they refused to hand over the benefits without Fang Yu's return. Are you the Tang sect's envoys? Fang Yu asked the leader of the girls directly after entering the door, without even looking at Fang Zhao and the others. Yes, I'm Tang Shi'er, Tang Wu's cousin. TSK, little Wu says you're so good, but I think you're just SOSO. Tang Shi'er chuckled. Fang Yu wasn't angry. He didn't want to build a good relationship with her. In the end, Tang Shi'er was just here to deliver something. To Fang Yu, it didn't make a difference whether she was Tang Wu's cousin or not. Tang Shi'er was stunned when she realized that Fang Yu wasn't interested in her. She boasted that she wasn't devastatingly beautiful, but Fang Yu wasn't moved at all. Was this for real? Where's the thing? I wonder what the Tang sect wants to pay me. Fang Yu went straight to the point. Not only the Fang family, but even the Tang sect cultivators who accompanied Tang Shi'er here were all shocked. Although Tang Shi'er wasn't unruly and willful, as a young and beautiful girl, she naturally cared about her reputation. How could Fang Yu gain anything by humiliating her like this? Sure enough, Tang Shi'er gritted her teeth and said, I've brought the thing, but if you want to get it, you have to go through me. Fang Yu's expression didn't change. Go through you? Yes. You molested my sister before, didn't you? Didn't you? Tang Shi'er asked with a cold smile. Miss, you can't say that. It'll affect Miss Wu's reputation. The attendant hurriedly said. Wasn't that right? Food could be eaten indiscriminately, but words couldn't be said indiscriminately. Since Tang Wu had recovered, she might inherit the Tang sect in the future. It was no small matter if her reputation was damaged. Especially when this kind of thing was said by one of their own, it was even more difficult to deal with. Humph. I'm just saying. Fang Yu, you can say yes or no. Tang Shi'er looked at Fang Yu and waited for him to continue. Me? A doctor has the heart of a parent. I've already said these things. There's no such thing as molestation. I've also explained this to Miss Tang Wu. Fang Yu said indifferently. You have a sharp tongue. How about this? Take 3 of my moves and I'll let this matter pass. Tang Shi'er blinked and said. 3 of your moves? Why should I? Fang Yu asked, amused. Because I'm Tang Shi'er. How about this? If you can win, I'll give you something fun. It's an unorthodox weapon. Tang Shi'er said with a smile. Unorthodox weapon? Fang Yu's expression finally changed. Foreign Dao elite weapons were not ordinary treasures. They were very rare, so they were extremely rare. If Tang Shi'er bid for a foreign Dao elite weapon, no matter what kind of foreign Dao elite weapon it was not impossible for him to fight with her. Chapter 58. That's right. This item is called the Thousand Illusion Mask. I obtained it by chance. Although its transformation is limited, this item is made from the skin of a beast called the Thousand Illusion Beast. There are very few Thousand Illusion Beasts nowadays, and there hasn't been any movement in the past 100 years. Even if the quality of this alien elite weapon is average, it can still be sold for a good price. Tang Xier saw that Fang Yu was tempted and decided to strike while the iron was hot. Sure, but only for 3 moves. Fang Yu nodded. He could also see that Tang Xier was very close to becoming a great martial master. All she needed was a little opportunity. With the Tang sect's background, Tang Xier would definitely become a great martial master before the 4 academies selection. A great martial master less than 20 years old. Everyone was in a daze. Such a person had a high chance of becoming a martial spirit in the future. If there was a martial spirit, there wouldn't be any 3 big families in Skylight City. It seems that Tao Yuqing of the Tao family is also close to becoming a great martial master, someone mentioned. Tao Yuqing? He can't. Fang Zhao shook his head. Tao Yuqing's talent is passable, but compared to Tang Xier, he's more than 1 level behind. Tang Xier mainly relies on talent before resources. Or rather, even if she wasn't born in the Tang sect, she still has a high chance of becoming a great martial master before 20 years old. Tao Yuqing, on the other hand, is different. He mainly relies on resources before talent. I'm not afraid to say that even if Tao Yuqing becomes a great martial master, if he doesn't have any opportunities in his life, he won't even be able to reach the threshold of a great martial master. Because of the accumulation of resources, there are advantages and disadvantages. Geniuses can ignore these hidden dangers, but martial artists with only a little talent can't ignore them. After a pause, Fang Zhao continued. His relationship with the Tao family was not good mainly because of Fang Yi. The solution that the Tao family proposed was too humiliating. The Lin family and the Zhang family took the opportunity to spread the news about Fang Yi, making it difficult for them to back down. If they compromised with the Tao family and gave up on Fang Yi, the Fang family's status in Skylight City would definitely fall. The Fang family couldn't afford to lose face. Plus, the Tao family was too aggressive, so they could only fall out with the Tao family and go against them. Fang Zhao didn't have much affection for Fang Yi, but he didn't have a good impression of the Tao family. He was an ambitious man who only had eyes for things that he could use. Since the Tao family has no intention of cooperating, then let's break off the engagement. Although the Tao family pursued Fang Yi relentlessly and even tried to kill her, it was also unexpected. Fang Yu, you better be prepared. Based on your attitude just now, I won't show you any mercy. Tang Xia rubbed her fists. Please. Fang Yu wasn't afraid either. He was now a great martial master, while Tang Xia was only close to becoming a great martial master. What was there to be afraid of? Controlling crane capturing dragon hands. Tang Xia immediately used controlling crane capturing dragon hands. Unlike when Nanny Tang used it before, Tang Xia used her real strength as soon as she came up with the 9 cranes and 9 dragons. Even Fang Zhao's eyelids twitched wildly when he saw it. Without another word, Fang Yu took a step forward. Controlling crane capturing dragon hands. Fang Yu also used controlling crane capturing dragon hands, 9 cranes and 9 dragons. However, his speed was very fast, even faster than Tang Xia's. In the blink of an eye, he had dissolved Tang Xia's attack. Tang Xia was a little confused. What happened? Where was her controlling crane capturing dragon hands? Where did it go? Let's use the second move. Fang Yu didn't have the obligation to explain and said indifferently. All right. Tang Xia was also angry. Originally, she wanted to use controlling crane capturing dragon hands to defeat Fang Yu and teach him a lesson. Then, she would take over and leave in one go. Now, she had been slapped in the face. There was no end to this. Spiritual martial art, azure dragon entering the sea. Tang Shi'er forcefully mobilized the energy in her body and used the Tang sect's famous spiritual martial art, azure dragon entering the sea. Roar! The dragon's roar caused Fang Yu's pupils to shrink. Is this for real? The reason why he was surprised was that Tang Shi'er had mastered a spiritual martial art at such a young age. Secondly, Tang Shi'er was so talented and had such a deep foundation that she could forcefully use a spiritual martial art. Aren't you worried that you won't be able to use the third move? Fang Yu couldn't help but ask. You can't take it, Tang Shi'er said decisively. That's right, azure dragon entering the sea was one of the few great martial arts of the Tang sect. If it wasn't for Tang Shi'er's talent and status, it was impossible for her to cultivate a spiritual martial art at this age. What a powerful spiritual martial art! If only I could learn it! Fang Yu was also eager to give it a try. However, let's deal with the current situation first. Fourth of the heavenly sun, 9 blades, setting sun, scorching sun. Fang Yu slashed out with his blade. This blade swept out like a scorching sun and collided with Tang Shi'er's spiritual martial art. Rumble! With a loud sound, Tang Shi'er was sent flying by a huge force. Pfft! She spat out blood. Too powerful, the impact was too strong. Tang Shi'er couldn't block it at all. Miss Biao. The Tang sect martial artists were anxious. In fact, it wasn't that they didn't think of the result of this attack. However, Tang Shi'er being sent flying was definitely not within their expectations. Phew! Fang Yu slowly withdrew his blade. Sure enough, stepping into the realm of a martial grand master was completely different from the past. Tang Shi'er, who was infinitely close to a martial grand master and could even use spiritual martial arts, was not his opponent. Fang Yu would never have thought of such a thing in the past. However, it had happened now. Fang Yu, what realm are you at now? Fang Zhao suddenly asked. It has nothing to do with you. Fang Yu couldn't be bothered with Fang Zhao. He more or less understood Fang Zhao's thought. Fang Zhao was a person who placed benefits above all else. As long as there was value to be used, he would disregard former enmity. Unfortunately, he, Fang Yu, didn't care about it. Cough cough you, Tang Shi'er coughed heavily a few times and stared at Fang Yu in surprise. You've lost. Fang Yu glanced at Tang Shi'er and said. Tang Shi'er bit her lips and wanted to refute Fang Yu. However, if her senses weren't wrong, Fang Yu's strength was probably above hers. The 1,000 illusion mask here. Tang Shi'er threw a thin piece of skin to Fang Yu. Fang Yu caught it and felt that it looked like a piece of skin. It felt good to the touch, as if it could be eaten. I have something to ask you, Tang Shi'er said to Fang Yu. Sure, but only the two of us can talk. If you agree, we'll talk. If you don't, then forget it. Fang Yu said indifferently. Sure. Prepare a quiet room for me. Tang Shi'er composed herself and said. Do it. Fang Zhao took a deep look at Fang Yu and ordered the servant. He could ignore Fang Yu's request, but he couldn't ignore Tang Shi'er. A moment later, in the quiet room, Tang Shi'er directly asked Fang Yu, Fang Yu, are you already a martial grand master? Chapter 59. Yes, I'm a martial grandmaster now. Fang Yu didn't hide his aura at all, which made Tang Shi'er take several steps back. I knew it. I couldn't possibly lose to you after using Vast Dragon Enters the Sea. It can only be that your cultivation level is higher than mine. But I'm already infinitely close to becoming a martial grandmaster. If you're higher than me, you're definitely a martial grandmaster or even higher. Sure enough, there's always someone better than you. Wait. I remember Sister Wu said that you were still a body-refining warrior back then, right? You're a martial grandmaster now? That's impossible. Tang Shi'er's expression changed drastically as she spoke. It was too unbelievable. How could such a thing happen in the world? Everyone has their own opportunities. You have it, and so do I, Feng Yu. Now that I've solved your doubts, it's time to give me the reward the Tang sect gave me, right? Feng Yu said unhurriedly. I'll definitely give it to you. There's no rush. I want to ask, did you get an invitation letter from the academy? Tang Xier blinked. If there was a big event recently, it would undoubtedly be the 4 academies sending out invitations to the outside world. Receiving an invitation letter meant that one's potential had been recognized, and the possibility of becoming a martial grandmaster was very high. What a talented man and woman, they were still young. It was natural for him to be recognized by them. Tang Xier's cultivation speed wasn't slow. It was just that she had been delayed by comprehending vast dragon enters the sea. Otherwise, she would have been invited last year. However, Tang Xier didn't care. She knew very well that even if she had been invited last time, the chances of her succeeding were still too small. This year, she was very confident. She was almost certain that she would win. Ding. System mission. Help Tang Xier break through to Martial Grandmaster. The Super Slaughter System's voice suddenly rang out in Feng Yu's head. How can I help? Feng Yu was a little dumbfounded. But after some thought, he still asked, actually, you haven't broken through yet. Is there a problem? Tang Xier was startled. Why are you suddenly asking this? I'm just curious. Feng Yu couldn't say that the Super Slaughter System had issued a mission without warning. It's like this. I haven't been able to make a breakthrough for a long time. Firstly, I'm accumulating strength. Secondly, I'm too outstanding. That's not necessarily a good thing in the Tang sect. Tang Xier pondered for a while, and then actually spoke to Feng Yu. The Tang sect was very large, and there were many factional struggles. Tang Xier's family was neutral. The general idea was that they would support whoever became the sect leader. However, due to the health condition of the Tang sect's successor, Tang Wu, the situation had changed slightly in recent years. Most of the time, it was not Tang Xier's family's turn to remain neutral. They needed to choose a side. Normally, he would help Tang Wu. After all, Tang Wu was the rightful successor. However, there were many friends and relatives of Tang Xier's family in the opposing faction, which made Tang Xier hesitate. The Tang sect did not lack martial grandmasters. However, once Tang Xier became a martial grandmaster, she would have to make her stance clear. Was it Tang Wu? Or was it one of his family's friends? This made Tang Xier very difficult. Seeing this, Feng Yu smiled. In my opinion, you should support Tang Wu as usual. Why? Because you have a good relationship with Tang Wu? Tang Xier rolled her eyes at Feng Yu. That's one of the reasons. The second reason is that Tang Wu's talent is not weak, most likely above yours. Such a person will definitely become a martial grandmaster in the future. It's only a matter of time before he becomes a martial spirit. Feng Yu spoke frankly with assurance. He was no longer the person who had just been reborn. He had become a martial grandmaster himself, and he also understood a lot about people and things. Tang Wu's talent was really strong, and his future achievements were not to be underestimated. If Tang Wu's baleful body had not delayed for many years, there probably would not be any villains now. Therefore, since Tang Wu had recovered, if Tang Xier really had to make a choice, it would naturally be best to choose Tang Wu. Things are not that simple, Tang Xier smiled bitterly and said. You should know that the Tang sect is very big. In the Tang sect, a martial grandmaster is the basic operation, and a martial spirit has some rights to speak. Only a martial king has a certain status. I'm just a martial grandmaster, so I can't control too much. As for Sister Wu, I believe in her talent, but there may not be enough time. Whether there's enough time or not, it's not up to you to decide. In short, if you want to say why I have to choose Tang Wu, it's very simple. She and I can be considered friends. With the help of a future martial emperor, Tang Wu will definitely be promoted," Fang Yu said with a carefree smile. Tang Xier couldn't help but laugh. "Future martial emperor? Are you serious? Even if you're a martial grandmaster, you're still dozens of levels away from a martial emperor. Do you know why a martial king is called a king? Because once you become a martial king, you're no different from a king in ancient times. You sit on power and embrace beauties. When you're awake, you control the world and lie drunk on beauty's knees." Fang Yu, pursue more than this. Fang Yu chuckled as he replied. That's right, if he wanted to go back and take revenge, becoming a martial emperor was the basic operation. Only when he became a martial emperor could he have the strength to step into the void. He really wanted to joke with Tang Xier about this. Thank you for untying the knot in my heart. If you really have a fortuitous encounter and become a martial grandmaster from a martial warrior in less than a month, it's possible for you to become a martial king or even a martial saint. Tang Xier said with a smile. In the end, you still don't believe that I can become a martial emperor. How about this, when I become a martial emperor in the future, you'll be my maid and let me enjoy the feeling of being awake and controlling the world and lying drunk on beauty's knees. Fang Yu glanced at Tang Xier, who was smiling like a flower, and said, "Okay, I promise you." Tang Xier had just answered when she felt a vortex appear in her body. This vortex spun wildly, endlessly absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth from all directions. Epiphany! Tang Xier reacted and was overjoyed. "Break through well. I'll protect you," Fang Yu said seriously. With Tang Xier's foundation, breaking through was just pushing the boat with the current. There wouldn't be any problems. Okay. Tang Xier looked at Fang Yu gratefully and focused on breaking through. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the mission. The reward is one random spiritual martial art learning voucher. Not long after, when Tang Xier's aura crossed the threshold of martial grandmaster, a notification sounded in Fang Yu's mind. Use. Target Tang Xier. Fang Yu glanced at Tang Xier, who was slowly restraining her aura, and said to the super slaughter system. Ding. Use successful, learning successful. The super slaughter system replied, Spiritual martial art, Azure Dragon enters the sea. Chapter 60. Subsequently, information about the black dragon plunges into the sea appeared in Fang Yu's mind. The black dragon plunges into the sea was one of the three great spiritual martial arts of the Tang sect. The three great spiritual martial arts of the Tang sect are the black dragon plunges into the sea, the proud dragon repents, and the dragon ascends to the 9 heavens. The three spiritual martial arts actually complement each other and are different. Among them, the black dragon plunges into the sea is powerful and heavy like a mountain. If used properly, it can even kill a martial grandmaster. Fang Yu's emotions were surging. It was indeed one of the three great spiritual martial arts of the Tang sect. It was not inferior to the 10,000 Beasts Emperor Fist. When Fang Yu was savoring the black dragon plunges into the sea, Tang Xier finally opened her eyes. I didn't expect to become a martial grandmaster this time. I thought I would need to use some elixirs. Tang Xier let out a long sigh. Tang Xier's problem was a knot in her heart. If she could not figure it out, she could only rely on external forces to break through. Her foundation was very good. Even if she used elixirs, the side effects would not be too severe and would be within an acceptable range. However, it was better not to have side effects if it could not have them. Who would like side effects for no reason? Wouldn't that be making things difficult for herself? Now, Fang Yu had actually solved the knot in her heart with just a few words. Although Tang Xier was still a little dizzy and did not know why she had believed Fang Yu's nonsense, the breakthrough proved that she had been convinced by Fang Yu. Perhaps one day, he will really become a martial emperor, Tang Shi could not help but think. A martial emperor was an existence that could build one's own kingdom. If one day you really become a martial emperor, I, Tang Shi, will be your servant girl. I will let you control the world and sleep on the lap of a beauty. Tang Shi said in all seriousness. Yes, I will remember that. Just wait for that day to come. Fang Yu chuckled. By the way, have you been related to the underground black market in Skylight City recently? Tang Shi seemed to have remembered something and asked. Oh. Fang Yu looked at Tang Shi and waited for her to continue. He knew that Tang Shi was not a person who spoke without thinking. There must be a reason for her to say that. Do you know about the Black Market Alliance? Tang Shi asked. I don't know. Fang Yu shook his head. Not to mention him, even the original owner didn't know much about the underground black market. After all, as a member of the three great clans, it would be inappropriate for him to learn about the black market. This is an alliance that has united the black markets from all over the world. It's a very powerful force. Perhaps they don't have as many experts as the Tang sect, but they have more forces under their command than the Tang sect. It's a huge monster. Tang Shi said softly. Recently, there have been rumors that the underground black market in Skylight City is about to change. Someone has obtained the support of a higher level of authority and is planning to make a move on the underground black market in this area. Then as for Skylight City, Fang Yu's brows furrowed. It won't have much impact on Skylight City. As I said, it's the Black Market Alliance. If they extend their reach too far, they might even get their hands on the benefits above ground. Forces like the Tang sect won't sit back and do nothing. When the time comes, they'll be the ones to lose out. So even if there's a move, it'll only be against the underground. You don't have to worry about that. Tang Shi explained, however, we've already checked before coming here. Your connection with the underground black market is quite close. To be honest, I'm a guest of the Li family of the underground black market. Fang Yu said frankly. I see, then I advise you to cut off this connection. Tang Shi said bluntly. I know that the underground black market here is not an ordinary existence even in the Black Market Alliance. But this time, the other party has obtained the support of a martial king. A martial king will make a move at the critical moment. Even the Tang sect doesn't have many martial kings. There's such a thing. Fang Yu couldn't help but change his expression. If there really was a martial king dealing with the underground black market, the Li family would really have to change hands. Originally, he thought that the Jing family would be helpless if the Void Rat's capture failed. But now it seemed that the Void Rat was only a part of the plan. Even if it failed, they still had a backup plan. In any case, it seemed a little too easy to rely on a demonic beast with a decent level of intelligence and cultivation to ask a martial king for help. Where did you get this information? Fang Yu asked again. Where else could it be? Of course, it's the Tianji Tower. But different levels of information have different charges. This piece of information is very expensive. If it wasn't reimbursed through the public account, I wouldn't be able to afford it. Tang Shi pursed her lips and said. Other than that, is there any other information about me? Fang Yu's heart skipped a beat as he asked. Tang Shi had a good impression of Fang Yu. Since she had said it, she would tell him everything she knew. When Tang Shi told Fang Yu all the information that the Tianji Tower had found, Fang Yu heaved a long sigh of relief. As expected, the Tianji Tower doesn't know about the blood pool. Fang Yu breathed a sigh of relief. Although the information included that Fang Yu had entered the blood pool, it wasn't exposed that he had obtained the heart of the blood pool. That's all I know. As for what opportunities you had, the Tianji Tower's information didn't say. Tang Shi looked at him suspiciously, but soon felt relieved. Forget it, I won't ask. Oh? Why? Fang Yu asked with interest. The Tianji Tower isn't omnipotent, at least for martial emperors. If you're a future martial emperor, it's not strange that you can hide from the Tianji Tower. Tang Xier spread her hands and said, "Haha, you have good taste." Fang Yu laughed and returned to the topic. "You haven't told me what the Tang sect gave me as a reward." "Hee, of course it's something good, but I'm not sure what it is exactly." Tang Xier chuckled and said, "You're not sure what it is exactly?" Fang Yu was stunned. "What the hell are you chuckling about?" "Yes, but I'm sure it's something good and you have a choice." Tang Xier took out a brocade box from her storage ring. This was given to her by the current Tang sect master, Tang Wu's father. He said that he would only take it out and open it when he saw Fang Yu. Tang Xier didn't know what was inside. But Tang Wu confidently guaranteed that it was definitely something good, but to obtain it, one would need a little luck or strength. Of course, there were options that didn't require luck or strength, but the final item was destined to be ordinary and inferior. Chapter 61. As she spoke, Tang Xier took out a few boxes. They were blind boxes. Blind boxes. Fang Yu was dazed. He hadn't expected a blind box. Yes, a blind box. Well, it's just a blind box, but it's not like there's no hint. Feel it. This blind box has a majestic aura, while this one is ordinary. It means that the things inside are different. Tang Xier said with a smile, "Let me remind you in advance that you only have one chance. If you fail, you won't get anything." "Is that so?" Fang Yu's eyes widened. There was something wrong with the way the reward was given. Yes, but don't worry. Sister Wu asked for a favor for you and gave you a guarantee. Look at this blind box. It's ordinary, but there's probably over 1,000,000 spirit stones in it. That's a lot." Tang Xier said teasingly, "Well, since I've told you everything, this blind box can't be called a blind box anymore." She knew very well that Fang Yu wouldn't choose this blind box. The reason was simple. 1,000,000 spirit stones was a lot for an ordinary martial artist. Even for a martial grandmaster, 1,000,000 spirit stones wasn't a small number. However, Fang Yu was a martial grandmaster less than 20 years old. He had even become a martial grandmaster from a martial warrior in a month. Why would such a person care about 1,000,000 spirit stones? As expected, Fang Yu didn't even look at this ordinary blind box. 1,000,000 spirit stones was indeed not worth mentioning now. "And the other two are?" Fang Yu asked curiously. If Fang Yu had to divide the items, the blind boxes in front of him could be roughly divided into 3 levels: strong, medium, and weak. 1,000,000 spirit stones was the weakest one. It wasn't difficult at all. As long as Fang Yu wanted to, he could get the items inside immediately. However, this item was too easy to obtain. Fang Yu would not choose it. One of them might be the cultivation method for the first few levels of the mysterious heaven method. Tang Xier was blunt. If it had been before, she wouldn't have told Fang Yu the truth. However, she owed Fang Yu a favor now, so she couldn't hide it from him. If that's the case, isn't this? Fang Yu's expression became strange. Could it be a spiritual martial arts? The only thing that was above the mysterious heaven method was undoubtedly the spiritual martial arts. But Fang Yu had already learned Azure Dragon Enters the Sea. If the other party gave him the Azure Dragon Enters the Sea and he coincidentally obtained the item in the blind box, wouldn't it be a huge loss? "I already have the first few levels of the mysterious heaven skill." Fang Yu felt a headache coming on. According to the current situation, perhaps it would be better for him to directly choose the 1,000,000 spirit stones? Tang Xier was also dumbfounded when she saw Fang Yu's gaze drifting and finally falling on the 1,000,000 spirit stones again. What happened to the promised future martial emperor? He was actually going to bow down for the sake of 1,000,000 spirit stones? You want to choose 1,000,000 spirit stones, right? Tang Xier frowned. Sister Wu asked for this guarantee so that you won't end up empty-handed after careful consideration. Now you're aiming for 1,000,000 spiritual stones. That's not right. Fang Yu rolled his eyes. If it really was the first few levels of the mysterious heaven method or Azure Dragon enters the sea, 1,000,000 spirit stones was the right choice. What are you hesitating for? Of course you're going to choose the spiritual martial arts. Suddenly, a voice rang out in Fang Yu's mind. The most. Oh, it's you. Fang Yu recalled the origin of the voice and said grumpily. It was the void rat who spoke. After following Fang Yu out, it fell asleep in the space near Fang Yu. Fang Yu was worried that it would fall behind. However, the void rat did not care at all, saying that it had already locked onto Fang Yu's position and would follow him automatically. Unless they encountered a powerful array or a place that was sealed off, there was no need to worry about falling behind. Now that it suddenly spoke, Fang Yu was startled. What's wrong with me? The void rat said unhurriedly, as long as you're not an idiot, you should know that spiritual martial arts are the most worth investing in, right? Even if you end up empty-handed, 1,000,000 spirit stones for a chance to obtain a spiritual martial art. I'm sure people will flock to it. I really don't know what you're hesitating for. Fang Yu opened his mouth, but in the end, he shut it obediently. What could he say? Say that he had already used the random spiritual martial arts voucher to learn Azure Dragon Enters the Sea? The Tang sect had a total of 3 spiritual martial arts, and each of them was extremely terrifying. However, learning Azure Dragon Enters the Sea repeatedly was useless, wasn't it? Forget it. Anyway, it's just a 1 in 3 chance. Just like the void rat said, 1,000,000 spirit stones is enough for a chance to draw a spiritual martial art. As long as you're not an idiot, you'll try it. Fang Yu made up his mind and reached out as well, choosing the blind box with the strongest aura. Seeing this, Tang Xir heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, if Fang Yu had chosen 1,000,000 spirit stones without thinking, she would have been very disappointed. The promise of ruling the world and lying on the lap of a beauty would also be invalid. She, Tang Xir, might not serve a hero, but she would definitely not serve a coward. You won't let me obtain this item directly, right? Fang Yu asked. Yes. This treasure has a mark left behind by our Tang family ancestor. If you want to obtain the item inside, you still have to go through the test of the mark. This is a very high standard return gift. After all, if you pass, you may obtain a spiritual martial art. Tang Xir's eyes lit up. Even I don't have such treatment. I have made a lot of contributions and the accumulated feelings of my parents in exchange for a chance to cultivate a spiritual martial art. Therefore, this return gift is very serious. Yes. Fang Yu nodded slightly and said, Yes, why did you choose Azure Dragon Enters the Sea? According to what you said, you can choose any of the 3 great spiritual martial arts? Is there a reason for choosing Azure Dragon Enters the Sea? Although Fang Yu had read some information about the other 2 spiritual martial arts when he had learned Azure Dragon Enters the Sea through the random spiritual martial arts learning voucher. After all, the 3 spiritual martial arts should be a complete set. It had a special meaning. However, the people of the Tang sect should have their own reasons for choosing. There is a reason for this. Tang Xir did not hide. If you want to unleash 100% of the power of the arrogant dragon's regrets, you need to accumulate a certain amount of anger. If you are not angry, you cannot unleash 100% of your power. There is such a saying. Fang Yu was shocked. Yes, although the conditions are difficult, if you meet them, you can unleash more than 100% of its power. The arrogant dragon's regrets, is that terrifying? Tang Xir said with a serious expression. As for dragon soaring 9 heavens, this martial art needs time to brew. 9 heavens means 9 heavens. It means that this soul martial art needs time to brew before it can unleash its strongest power. According to the ancestors, The power of dragon soaring 9 heavens is higher than the arrogant dragon's regrets. After pausing for a moment, Tang Shi-er continued. Chapter 62. So that's how it is, Fang Yu suddenly understood. Yes. Although the azure dragon enters the sea is also not easy, compared to the arrogant dragon's regrets and the dragon ascends to the 9th heaven, it is definitely easy. Tang Shi-er nodded. If I can obtain the arrogant dragon's regrets or the dragon ascends to the 9th heaven, it will not be a loss. Fang Yu was deep in thought. That's right, these two spiritual martial arts each had their own strength. Any one of them was at the level of a sect's most precious treasure. If he could exchange 1,000,000 spiritual stones for a chance to draw a prize, it would indeed be a profitable business. Let's give it a try. Fang Yu grabbed the blind box with the strongest aura. In an instant, his consciousness had actually arrived at another empty place. Oh? You're not from our Tang sect. Before Fang Yu could clearly see where he was, an old voice sounded in his ears. You are. First answer me. Why did the Tang sect's inheritance treasure come to you? Oh, okay. Fang Yu and the other party exchanged questions and answers, and said concisely, it's like this. I helped the current Tang sect leader's daughter, Tang Wu, to solve the illness that had troubled her for many years. The Tang sect gave me a few blind boxes to choose from, and I chose this one. Yes, I still believe in the quality of the Tang sect leader. Since he gave it to you, you should have made a corresponding contribution. It's not a loss to exchange it for the life of a direct descendant. The old voice did not waver. If I fail the challenge, will this item be destroyed? Fang Yu's eyes turned as he asked. If it was destroyed so easily, it would be a pity. That won't be the case. Actually, this item can be called an inheritance because of my spiritual imprint. Oh! My spiritual imprint, other than containing a spiritual martial art, also contains the comprehension and experience of this spiritual martial art. In other words, if you succeed in the challenge, the benefits you will obtain will not be as simple as a spiritual martial art. It will also save you the process of cultivation. It is extremely rare, so this item can be called an inheritance. It has always been given to the successors of the Tang sect to enjoy. If you can obtain it, it means that your actions have contributed greatly to the Tang sect. Fang Yu remained silent. According to Tang Shi-er, if Tang Wu's condition didn't improve, it would be the beginning of unrest for the Tang sect. Now that Fang Yu had cured Tang Wu, it was a timely rain that prevented the Tang sect from falling into chaos. Of course, the enmity between the Tang sect and the Tang sect was most likely laid down when Tang Wu's condition was confirmed. Over a decade has passed, so it won't be so easy to resolve it. However, it won't erupt so easily either. If it were to erupt when Tang Wu has fully recovered, wouldn't the Tang sect be riddled with holes? A broken Tang sect and an intact Tang sect are two different things. Fang Yu thought to himself. The Tang sect's reputation would be greatly reduced because of this, and this was definitely not something that the other faction wanted to see. If that were to happen, the neutral faction would all switch sides to Tang Wu's side. No one wanted the Tang sect to decide on a new successor amid the flames of war. As such, it was no exaggeration for the Tang sect master to thank Fang Yu. Of course, if no one can inherit my spiritual martial arts, then it will eventually disperse between heaven and earth. It's a pity, but if there isn't a successor who is outstanding enough, then it's gone. The old voice spoke slowly. Senior, you're really decisive. Fang Yu smiled bitterly. Such a thing would be a great loss for any faction. The world has its ups and downs. If the Tang sect declines because of this, then it can only be said that this is all they have. There's nothing much to say. The old voice said indifferently. On the other hand, every time the Tang sect survives a destruction, it will become stronger. Just like the divine beast phoenix, it was born from desire. Fang Yu was shocked. Now, accept your test. Let's see if you have the qualifications to inherit our Tang sect's spiritual martial arts. With that, Fang Yu felt the power of heaven and earth in all directions surge. So scary. So powerful. Fang Yu sucked in a breath of cold air. According to the other party's current state, he was probably not just a martial king at his peak. Boom. 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 A series of explosions in the air caused Fang Yu's expression to change. This feeling was like a mountain crushing down on him. Even though Fang Yu was already a martial grandmaster, he was still unable to withstand this kind of power. Not good, I have to make the first move. Fang Yu knew that this was not good. If he was led by the nose by the other party, he would be finished. However, before Fang Yu could react, an endless amount of power poured down like rain. Bang! 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 The powerful punches landed on Fang Yu's flesh. In an instant, his face was bruised and his nose swollen. He could only take the beating without any strength to resist. No, I can't be led by the nose like this, Fang Yu thought with difficulty. But even if he wanted to, he was still powerless. The other party was too strong. He did not give Fang Yu any chance to counterattack. In the darkness, the owner of the old voice, an elder of the Tang sect, watched this scene and shook his head. His talent is not bad, but it is limited to this. Our Tang sect's things are not so easy to take. He watched indifferently as Fang Yu was beaten up. In fact, he wanted Fang Yu to know the difficulty and retreat. The inheritance of martial arts was extremely difficult. The Tang sect's successors had all tried, but none of them had met the standard. Fang Yu was stronger than them, but he had not met his requirements. No matter what, he was still one of the top 3 Tang sect leaders. His martial arts inheritance was not so easy to obtain. Is there any way to use the super slaughter system? Fang Yu had an idea and asked the super slaughter system. Now that he was in a world of consciousness, even the void rat could not follow him in. However, the super slaughter system should be able to answer, consume 10,0 slaughter points to activate a spiritual awareness storm from the super slaughter system to solve the current situation. I'll buy it. Following Fang Yu's confirmation, the huge force that was constantly destroying him seemed to be forcefully pushed away by a mysterious force. Rumble. The source of the huge force was swept away by a storm and directly shattered. What? The old voice's expression changed greatly. What happened? Why was the spiritual awareness attack on Fang Yu suddenly destroyed? What was going on? Huff, huff. Senior, I passed your test, right? Fang Yu asked while panting. Although he looked calm on the surface, his heart was still uneasy. He still didn't know if this method of his was allowed or not. Therefore, he did not mention how he had escaped the situation and directly asked if it was enough. The old voice did not speak. He also did not know if Fang Yu had passed or not. Chapter 63. After a long silence, the ancient voice said, "Based on the result, you have passed." Although that was what the other party said, the reluctance in his words was obvious. Fang Yu smiled. He did not care if the other party was willing or not. He only wanted the result. I will not ask you what happened just now. Everyone has their own secrets and encounters. However, you have to promise me one thing, the ancient voice said again. Senior, you did not mention such a condition before. Fang Yu frowned. This was too shameless. Haha, I did not ask you how you passed. Although it is your ability to pass, the rules are set by me. Are you clear about this? The ancient voice chuckled and said. Fang Yu was speechless. If the other party said so, he really had nothing to say. As long as the condition is acceptable, It is not impossible to agree. Fang Yu's attitude was also lowered. Both parties could not be firm. Promise me that you will not be an enemy of the Tang sect in the future. The ancient voice said word by word. Not an enemy of the Tang sect. What if there is an internal battle in the Tang sect and one party asks me for help? Fang Yu asked doubtfully. The ancient voice was silent for a long time. It was obvious that it did not want to think about such a situation. After all, no ancestor was willing to see the same sect kill each other. Not to mention, the martial artists of the Tang sect often had a strong or weak bloodline. For example, Tang Xiaotian himself was actually Tang Wu's direct elder. The world is unpredictable. If it really comes to what you said, I want you to support the orthodox, the ancient voice said seriously. Although the orthodox was not necessarily right, the Tang sect had its rules. If something really happened, they had to support the orthodox. If they did not even care about the orthodox, then the existence of the Tang sect would not have much meaning. All right. Fang Yu nodded. The other party's words were more than enough. My spiritual martial art is called Dragon Soaring Nine Heavens. The Dragon Soaring Nine Heavens is not a simple spiritual martial art. It can be split into two spiritual martial arts, the Dragon Soaring Technique and the Nine Heavens Fall. Of course, in terms of level, whether it is the Dragon Soaring Technique or the Nine Heavens Fall, they are all very ordinary spirit martial arts. Because the Dragon Soaring Technique focuses too much on speed and the Nine Heavens Fall focuses too much on power. Focusing too much on speed will result in insufficient damage. It can be said that other than speed, the Soaring Dragon Technique doesn't have any other shining points. Focusing too much on strength would only make one clumsy. No matter how powerful the attack is, it's meaningless if it can't hit its target. As the ancient voice explained, Fang Yu was dumbfounded. You can play like this? Fang Yu had never heard of a spiritual martial art being split into two weaker and more extreme spiritual martial arts. Today, he had truly learned something new. Immediately after, the information on the Dragon Soaring Technique and Nine Heavens Fall merged into Fang Yu's mind. So that's how it is. This is the Dragon Soaring Nine Heavens. Fang Yu's eyes lit up. What a mysterious spirit martial art. If he wanted to cultivate the Dragon Soaring Nine Heavens, he had to first cultivate the Dragon Soaring Technique and Nine Heavens Fall to the limit. Otherwise, if the two could not perfectly fuse, there would be no Dragon Soaring Nine Heavens. When this Tang sect senior was passing down the inheritance, he had already passed on the experience and comprehension of the Dragon Soaring Technique and Nine Heavens Fall to Fang Yu. However, how to fuse them in the end still depended on Fang Yu. This was something that could not be avoided. I can't teach you the last step. You can only rely on yourself. It's definitely not that I'm hiding it, but that everyone's understanding of the Dragon Soaring Nine Heavens is different. The result of the fusion is also different. Just like refining medicine, even if everyone succeeds, there are still differences in the quality. The ancient voice said. So that's how it is, Fang Yu nodded. By the way, in the history of our Tang sect, there are no more than 2 martial artists who can cultivate the Dragon Soaring Nine Heavens. But these people, each of them has a different Dragon Soaring Nine Heavens, so whether you can succeed or not depends on you. The ancient voice said with a trace of mischief. Sure enough, Fang Yu's expression changed and he felt a huge pressure. However, he quickly heaved a sigh of relief. Anyway, it's 1,000,000 spirit stones for one lucky draw. I've already made a lot of money by getting 2 spiritual martial arts. I won't ask for more. Fang Yu was like a dead pig that wasn't afraid of boiling water, which made Tang Xiaotian feel a little helpless. How did a junior of the Tang sect get involved with such a troublemaker? In short, I hope you remember your promise today. After saying that, the ancient voice slowly dissipated. Senior, can you really not teach me the proud dragon's regrets? Since you can cultivate the Dragon Soaring Nine Heavens to this level, The proud dragon's regrets should not be a problem, right? Fang Yu asked. If that was the case, the Tang sect's 3 spiritual martial arts set would be complete. The ancient voice was silent for a while before slowly spitting out a word. Scram! Boom! Fang Yu felt a loud sound beside his ear, and suddenly returned to the world of his original body. Everything just now, Fang Yu felt that a long time had passed. They had talked and been beaten up, but in Tang Shier's eyes, only a dozen breaths had passed. Fang Yu, what's the result? Tang Shier asked anxiously. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. Fang Yu smiled and said. You really succeeded? Tang Shier's eyes widened. Why? I can't succeed? Or are you sure that I will fail? Fang Yu asked curiously. It's not like that. It's just that it's rumored that many sect masters have failed, including this one. It's unbelievable that you actually succeeded. Tang Shier could not help but look at Fang Yu a few more times. She had confidence in Fang Yu, but the current sect master and even the previous sect masters were all below the martial king level. They had all failed, but Fang Yu had succeeded. Tang Shier would be lying if she said that she was not surprised. Even if he's a future martial emperor, this is too exaggerated. Tang Shier muttered softly. By the way, I hope that Miss Tang won't spread this matter to anyone other than the relevant people. Fang Yu seemed to have remembered something and reminded her. Oh! Tang Shier was a little puzzled. The spirit martial art I obtained is the dragon soaring into 9 heavens. This senior of the Tang sect said that the dragon soaring into 9 heavens is very important. Although I've received his approval, it's still unknown how the people of the Tang sect will view it. Even if I become a martial grandmaster, it's still not worth mentioning to the Tang sect. I don't want to attract too much attention. In the end, Fang Yu summed it up with the phrase, a tall tree attracts the wind. Tang Shier understood. Yes, I understand. I'll personally report this matter to the sect master. I won't reveal anything to the others, including those who came with me. Chapter 64. Thank you. I owe you a favor. Fang Yu said gratefully. To be honest, if the news of Fang Yu obtaining the dragon's soar to the 9th heaven was widely spread, it would definitely not be good for him. As the saying goes, a man's wealth is his own ruin. Although Fang Yu was a martial grandmaster, there were still many strong people in the world, such as the Tang sect leader and the mysterious geezer Wang. These were obviously not people Fang Yu could deal with now. If someone of this level targeted Fang Yu, he couldn't guarantee that he could escape unscathed. Therefore, it was better to keep a low profile. Now that Tang Shier was willing to keep it a secret, it was undoubtedly the best. Oh? They're coming out. As Fang Yu and the others came out, many people guarding outside the door swarmed over. There was no other reason. There was the sound of a martial grand master in the room just now. Whether it was Tang Shier or Fang Yu's breakthrough, it was a big deal, and they couldn't be careless. Of course, the possibility of it being Fang Yu was not high. He was still a martial warrior a few days ago. Even if he was a genius and broke through to martial master, it was still impossible for him to reach the martial grand master level. I've broken through and the mission is completed. Let's go back. Tang Shier went straight to the point. Hearing this, everyone's jaws dropped. Was Fang Yu still the Tang sect's lucky star? Tang Wu came and cured his illness. Tang Shier came and broke through. The Tang sect leader seemed to be a martial king who had been trapped in shackles for many years. Why didn't he come and meet Fang Yu? Although they thought so, they didn't dare to really complain. They could only hurriedly congratulate. Miss Biao, I wonder if Fang Yu has chosen, someone asked carefully. Tang Shier glanced at this person. He was a trusted aide of one of her relatives who had specially sent him to accompany her. In fact, Tang Shier's family's status in the Tang sect had been rising steadily recently. On the orthodox side, They believed that Tang Shi-er and the others were neutral and would still be royalists at critical moments. After all, they were on the same side and would make many things easier for them. The other faction felt that Tang Shi-er's family had a closer relationship with them. As long as they showed enough sincerity, they could definitely win them over. Therefore, Tang Shi-er's family could be said to have benefited from both sides. However, the replacement of the Tang sect's orthodox lineage was more likely to affect the rise and fall of the Tang sect. Because of this, Tang Shi-er didn't dare to act rashly. It was precisely because of this that she, who was young and had outstanding talent, had a knot in her heart that prevented her from breaking through to martial Grand Master. Of course, Tang Shi-er's talent was too strong. Even if there was a knot in her heart, with enough time or external help, she could still step into the great martial mentor realm. However, when it came to cultivation, if one was slow, one would be slow at every step. Especially for a young martial artist like her, who was originally very fast. With such a delay, she became stuck in the middle. This time, Fang Yu solved the knot in her heart with just a few words. He believed that as long as there were no accidents, Tang Shi-er would have a high chance of breaking through to martial spirit. This matter can only be reported to the sect leader. This is the rule. In our Tang sect, there are no standards without rules. Tang Shi-er said lightly. Upon hearing this, although the person who asked was displeased, he didn't continue to ask. After all, Tang Shi-er was the cousin. His current position was still inferior to Tang Shi-er's. After sending off the people of the Tang sect, Fang Zhao waved his hand and motioned for the people of the Fang family to leave. He looked straight at Fang Yu and said, "Third Elder, did you kill him?" "Yes, I did." Fang Yu admitted directly and went straight to the point. He was so frank that Fang Zhao was caught unprepared. "Forget it. Let's forget about Third Elder," Fang Zhao said after a long silence. "Aren't you curious why I killed Third Elder?" Fang Yu was a little surprised. He knew that Fang Zhao was a cold and ruthless person, but he never expected him to be so cold and ruthless. Admittedly, the Third Elder wasn't much of a person, and his aptitude wasn't much, but he had worked hard for the Fang clan for many years. Even if he didn't make any contributions, he still worked hard for the clan. Now that he was dead, Fang Zhao didn't even look into the matter. "I'm curious, but the question is, if I ask, will you answer?" Fang Zhao looked at Fang Yu and said, "There's nothing to hide. At that time, I offended the young lady of the Tang family. You ordered people to deal with this matter, and Third Elder took the opportunity to kill me. After that, he probably reported that I accidentally died and dealt with it. You didn't ask what happened afterwards, right? No matter what, Fang Yu is already dead. A dead son is meaningless to you, Fang Zhao, the head of the Fang clan. It's not even worth mentioning." As Fang Yu spoke, his expression suddenly became agitated. "Take my mother for example. Both of us were the result of an accident in the Fang clan. If it weren't for the fact that we were hastily eliminated, which was too much of a slap to the face, would you, Fang Zhao, and the entire Fang clan care about us at all?" Fang Zhao was silent, because the answer was obvious. "But you've already killed Third Elder. The one who killed your mother was the young lady of the Tao family, Tao Bixia, and the spies and loyalists planted by the Tao and Jing family. No matter how good Fang Yi was, she was still a servant. I can't let the entire Fang family fall into the flames of war for her." Fang Zhao said word by word, "Born in a noble family, it's inevitable that I'll be so heartless." Fang Zhao. Fang Yu was furious. Controlling crane capturing dragon hand. Fang Yu used controlling crane capturing dragon hand without hesitation. 9 cranes and 9 dragons, earth-shattering. Even the usually calm Fang Zhao broke out in a cold sweat. How is this possible? Fang Zhao thought it was impossible and defended with all his might. He could sense that Fang Yu had the urge to kill him at that moment. Rumble! Fang Zhao was sent flying by Fang Yu's attack. His sleeves were torn and bleeding. Fang Yu, you really became a martial grandmaster. Fang Zhao's eyes widened. Fang Zhao had been a martial grandmaster for many years. It could be said that apart from martial grandmasters, no one could casually hurt him. Now that Fang Yu forced him to retreat with one move, if he still said that he wasn't a martial grandmaster, he would chop off his head and let everyone kick it like a ball. When Tang Shi'er and I went in, they should have given you something on the way, right? Or what conditions did you exchange with them? Fang Yu asked directly. Before Tang Shi'er left the quiet room, she revealed to Fang Yu that she was the master this time and the people accompanying her were secondary. The master was to thank Fang Yu, their great benefactor. This time, the Fang family had worked hard even if they didn't make any contributions. The Tang sect would more or less give them some compensation or exchange of benefits. Fang Zhao didn't say anything, which was a tacit agreement for the time being. In that case, my debt to the Fang clan is settled. After saying that, Fang Yu turned and left. He didn't want to waste time with Fang Zhao. Fang Zhao wasn't a good father, but as far as the Fang family was concerned, he was a good patriarch who led the family to prosperity. Chapter 65. However, Fang Zhao was also not a good leader. Although Third Elder was a despicable person, his merits outweighed his faults. Otherwise, Fang Zhao would not have kept him alive until now. Now that he was dead, he let the matter slide without any intention of seeking justice. This showed how ruthless Fang Zhao was. No matter what the Fang family did to save their reputation, they still protected Fang Yu from being harmed and gave him the chance to grow up. Third Elder and his son had intended to kill Fang Yu, but they were killed instead. All their grievances had disappeared. Therefore, Fang Yu did not intend to stay in the Fang family. He wanted to leave Skylight City. Fang Zhao was stunned for a moment. If I pass the position of the head of the family to you, how about you stay? What? Fang Yu's eyes widened. Fang Zhao was not joking? Pass the position of the head of the family to him? Ha! I don't care. Fang Zhao, you are you, and I am me. I, Fang Yu, don't care about the position of the head of the family. As for the Tao and Jing family who harmed my mother, I will make them pay with their blood. Fang Yu was so angry that he started laughing. You can't beat them. Even if you rely on the Li family, it will still be the same. Fang Zhao said slowly. What? You know about this? Fang Yu's face was full of disbelief. I have been in Skylight City for many years. Naturally, I have my own connections. Moreover, I am not like Third Elder. How could I not know my son's thoughts? Fang Zhao said with a trace of doubt. Although you have escaped death and seem to be a different person, I can be sure that you are still Fang Yu. Anyway, the Jing family has a lot of power behind them. Although the Li family is the king of the underground black market, they have been targeted by the Black Demon sect. This is not necessarily the case. Fang Yu wanted to say something, but Fang Zhao turned around. That's all I have to say. Unless you are willing to take over the position of the head of the family, I will not care if you decide to jump into the fire pit that is the Li family. There are young geniuses every year, but how many of them can really become saints and emperors? Fang Yu watched as Fang Zhao left. He did not say anything. This father of yours is not simple. His strength is mediocre, but his mind is frighteningly meticulous. I don't like dealing with this kind of person. It's too tiring. The void rat suddenly yawned and said. It did not speak, and Fang Yu had forgotten that there was an audience. Do you know what the Black Demon sect is? Fang Yu asked. You're asking the wrong question. How could I possibly know what the Black Demon sect is? I've been trapped in the Grotto Heaven for many years. I've been inside since I was young. I don't know what the outside world is like at all. The life of a peak level 9 is so boring. The Void Rat said slowly. She didn't know if it was showing off or what, but it gave her the urge to hammer it. Forget it. Even if you don't know, there's bound to be someone who does. Speaking of which, what's your situation now? Fang Yu asked. You don't even seem to be a peak martial grand master. The Void Rat was still weakening. TSK. How rare is that? What I burned back then was a demon soul. It's similar to a human soul. After such a torment, my vitality has been greatly damaged. It won't be easy to recover. The Void Rat said with some melancholy. Fang Yu glanced at his slaughter points. There were still 17 points. Although the slaughter mall produced a fixed number of vitality pills, something like the soul was different from external injuries. It was unlikely to be able to heal it. Is there no other way? Fang Yu could not help but ask. There is. You and I have a bloodline contract. As long as you continue to become stronger, your soul will become stronger as well. You will be able to nourish my soul, and I will gradually recover. Similarly, with you backing me up, I will not fall below the martial grand master level no matter what. The Void Rat said lazily. Although it was rare for it to leave the grotto heaven, it couldn't smile in its current state. Zheng He, is our son dead just like that? Did Yuan die for nothing? In the Zheng family, a woman was hysterical. And his body? Why didn't you bring it back and bury it? Why? The Li family refused to let him go. Although they weren't completely sure that this was Yuan Er's body, we had no reason to take it away by force. If we did, wouldn't we be saying that he's a member of the Zheng family? Zheng He said slowly. If Fang Yu were here, it would not be difficult to notice that Zheng He and Fang Zhao had many similarities. They were both men who prioritized power and strength. For the sake of their ambitions, they could sacrifice and give up everything, including their own sons. Even marrying Tao Bixiao was just a transaction with the Tao family. The Zheng family started from the underground black market and had too little control over the forces above ground. Although the Tao family was ranked 4th in Skylight City, they were undeniably the uncrowned kings. The two of them, one in the light and one in the dark, combined their strength was not inferior to any of the Zhangs, Lins, or Fangs. Now that Zheng Yuan had failed, Tu Lao's fate was unknown, and the evidence was in the hands of the Li family. Everything could not get worse. For this reason, Zheng He did not hesitate to contact his master in advance, but unfortunately, he did not receive any reply. So what if they admit it? The previous generation of the Li family's helmsman has been killed by our people. Now, only the sisters, Li Shuiying and Li Qiuhong, are left. They're just seedlings. Why do we have to worry so much? Tao Bixia said angrily. Originally, she was absolutely supportive of Zheng Yuan's plan to capture the Void Rat. With Zheng Yuan's men, treasures, and Tu Lao's protection, they could just retreat if they failed. Who would have thought that even their lives would be lost? This was unacceptable to Tao Bixia. There had to be an explanation for this. Zheng He was about to say something when the mirror in front of him suddenly rippled. He waved his hand and signaled for the maidservants to bring his wife away. Then, he bowed respectfully to the mirror. Zheng He pays his respects to master. Zheng He, you contacted your master so quickly. Could it be that your plan has failed? The old face in the mirror chuckled. His appearance was not outstanding. In the dim mirror, he looked even more sinister and terrifying. However, those who knew who he was would be even more fearful because of his name and background. The current leader of the Black Demon sect, the Black Demon Martial King. Other than that, he was also one of the top powers of the Black Market Alliance. He relied on the Black Demon Martial King, a 3-star Martial King. Master's eyes are like torches. The plan failed. The Void Rat's whereabouts are unknown, and Yuan is dead. Zheng He explained the ins and outs of the matter in a concise and clear manner. Could it be an expert from the school who snuck in? An avatar is at least a martial emperor, maybe even a martial ancestor. After pondering for a long time, the black demon martial king said neither slowly nor quickly, "If the 4 great academies interfere, things will be troublesome." You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.